at 863 Marshmallow Road, Kirkville, New York, SLB being 15-1-47.13. The applicant proposes to subdivide this said area into two lots. Lot number 1 is 160 acres and lot number 1A is 1 acre. The hearing will be held on June 7, 2022 at the Town Office Building, 7507 Lakeport Road, Chittenango, at 6 p.m., at which time all interested persons will be given an opportunity to be heard. A copy of the plan of said subdivision has been filed with the town clerk and is available for public inspection prior to the public hearing. This and all meetings held by the town of Sullivan are open to the public.
And just full disclosure, we are on tape. Everything is beyond tape. And if anybody wishes to speak to or this subdivision request by Mr. Shepherd, you can direct that to the board, or we can do show tunes for 15 minutes or so until the next hearing. Yes.
I will say I'm for it. I live on that road.
You got it?
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay.
Your name?
You got it? Yeah.
Your name?
Jody Guma.
Jody.
Got it? You got an address? 7515 or something like that?
No, we live at 870 Marshmallow
Oh,
Road.
okay. What is the address where you live?
870 Marshmallow Road.
Okay. Okay. We got four hearings tonight, so next one will be 6:15. Okay. Board realized that the camera is moved here, so that it's up here in the corner, and that's to get wider scope and get more inclusive. But realize that when that little red button is on, it is live, and so we're up here. Okay, keep that in mind. What I've circulated. That's right. Keep your language in line, okay? You have the B&L final on Dollar General, and I gave you just a handout for your information, the current fee schedule.
Yes, that's interesting.
That the town board has adopted. Okay. Counselor, I have a question. What I've got here for the solar law is the one on the draft filing, is that what is in effect now?
I gotta see what you have, Frank.
Okay, hang on. Let me see if I
I
can.
brought one for me too, but
Well, I didn't copy it for the board because I wanted to make sure that we had the right one. Okay, and Denise followed up on this. This one that we received.
I got that. And Frank's talking about we did a brand new update, massive update to your solar law to include a whole bunch of additional new good stuff, I'll say. But everything that's in here has to be checked against what they've submitted. And I don't know if anybody's done that yet for that. We'll talk about that when they get in.
Okay.
Like somebody had to look, and maybe it's B&L or whatever, I can do it. Because I just, Jerry sent me just the cover letter. Everything else is too big for me. I'm just now getting this package tonight. I have not looked through the solar package at all, just the cover letter. That's
Okay,
it.
they've got quite a bit of stuff in there.
Yeah, it's gotta be, so you gotta read the law that's on the books, which we did in 2017. It's gotta be read in conjunction with the law from 2021, right? 2021.
Right.
No, 2022, I forgot this is only a few months old.
Correct.
And this is a super new, upgraded version of our solar law. with new
More definitions.
definitions,
expansion of
clarification,
farmland and-
protections to property owners, protections to neighbors, different requirements.
Basically, the residential solar hasn't changed much. I didn't see much there. It has to do with the commercial. It has to do with the solar farms. And our purview now is what, up to 10?
No,
What's the
20.
cutoff?
20.
Oh, we go to 20?
At 20 megawatts, it goes over to the State of New York Siting Authority under Executive Law 94-C. That's where they tell us we can't be involved, although I wrote in here, we don't care what you say, we are involved, and then we can battle it out. Right now, there's a lawsuit pending at the appellate division in Albany, New York, about other towns that have said to the state, you can't take away our municipal home rule law rights to regulate and cite these large solar projects. And believe me, like a 5 megawatt and a 3 megawatt, those are real big. The 20 megawatts are and beyond.
50 is
Yeah, there's a
much.
pending, there's an application that's floating around out there for the town of Sullivan and the town of Lennox at the same time for 49.9 megawatts.
That's what we
that's
saw. We saw.
Over New Boston Road is where that one's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And I got off I can tell you more about it, but I just got off a call with the developers about a week and a half ago, listening to what they had to say about their project. And it was just an introduction to it. And I had town supervisor for Lennox was on. I was there on behalf of the town of Sullivan. Kip Hicks from County IDA was there. The developer was on the line, and that was a very initial call. But the position of the state is that the developer has to tell the town about the project and show us what it is, and then the town has a certain amount of time to put together a position on what the town would say to the state about putting this in the town. And we'd send them copies of our regulations and tell them how it does or doesn't comply with our regulations. And we can hire an engineer and apply for funds to pay an engineer to help us sort through some of that stuff. But the state of New York does seeker on this. They do the environmental review. They're telling us we don't do it, which is another thing where the governor just decided he was tired of people, tired of his initiative to get 70% of all of our power to be renewable by the year 2030. So it's a 70-30 program. And in order to do this, they take the siting power away from the localities, and they keep it with New York State. You know, are very good at what they do, so we know how that's probably going to get run. So this law was written for, like the kind we're going to look at tonight, but also claims, it says in here, depending on the case law, that we also would control the 50 megawatt one, but we're not there yet as far as case law goes. Because we should go, when we get a chance, we should all go over like what these changes are, so you guys know what's
I think that'd be great. No,
maybe in between some of these public hearings. We
I
can
just don't have
piecemeal
copies.
it.
I don't have copies of the original for
Oh, the original, that's, where's Phil? This is the one that's original.
You just, and actually, all you really want is the solar farm.
This is just the solar energy. Oh, yeah, so yeah,
You
it's
don't really
it's
care
everything.
about
Yeah.
the rooftop
Yeah.
and the integrated or.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
No.
it starts on 275-50, so I'll bend the page to there. So Phil wants to copy that.
Okay.
You see
All right,
that?
we can get-
And then you just plug in the rest of this stuff.
All right, that'll take care of it. Okay. We're basically gonna be in a listening mode for that.
I mean, we have time to, your next one's not until 6:15, right?
Right, we're gonna have a couple of.
One of the
couple
things,
these.
yeah, so one of the things with the new regulations for the big time solar projects, like the one that's gonna be here soon, is the town, board, does require properly that there be security in place. In the event the whole thing went bankrupt, that we need to remove it, the town requires, security to have it removed. In the town of Sullivan, they've elected, as other towns have, to use cash. They say to the developer, find out how much it's gonna cost to remove this thing, give us cash money. We don't want a letter of credit, which could expire. We don't want a bond, which could expire. Post cash to us. And there's a few other towns in Onondaga County that are doing that right now, and a few all, right across the state. The town of Sullivan doesn't want to deal with keeping track of bonds and letters of credit and having them expire, and then company goes bankrupt, and now there's this big solar project that can't be removed, and we don't even know if it ever would need to be. So they elected to do cash security, and that's your only choice. It
Who
says,
determines that amount?
who what?
Who determines that amount?
Well, I would tell you that our engineer, they can propose it, they can have their engineer say, here's what it would be, and then we show it to our engineer, and they go, yes, that's right, or they, no, it's not right. And it does require that every 5 years it gets reviewed again to see what's going on with inflation and so on, for the whole life of the project. So that's a really important protection for, really for the property owner too. The person that's leasing that, they should be, the farmer, if it's a farmer leasing it, the farmer should be asking the solar company to put up cash, because they're in the same position. If the solar company goes bankrupt, Larry's gonna go after the owner of the property, not the solar company. They're bankrupt, they're gone, they don't even exist anymore. So he's gotta go after the property owner, so the farm owner should be asking for cash, or maybe these bonds that could expire, but they're gonna have to stay on top of it. So it's really important that people that are leasing these their property out understand the obligations. And this stuff gets all recorded in the county clerk's office, and so if somebody I buy a piece of property, I need to know, is there a requirement on here that I have to remove this stuff, that kind of thing. So that's a really big one. There's stuff in here about the SWIP that has to be done. There's separate, we put in here, in order to avoid oversaturation of multiple farms in one neighborhood or area, you have to be 1,000. Well, you have to be about a mile away from each one. Whether you can get a variance from that, and you also have to be 1,000 feet from a wetland. If it's a delineated wetland, you gotta.
Which they have.
Yeah. No solar farm shall be installed on or within 1,000 feet of a wetland as identified by the DEC or Army Corps. It says, in granting of a special use permit, the planning board will strive to permit location of a solar farm in such a manner so as no one area or neighborhood shall be overburdened by the placement of any proposed solar farms. Screenings and all that kind of stuff. That's in here. Let's see. You gotta file a written operation and maintenance plan. That's gotta be recorded.
Yes.
We need to,
Oh, no, I don't have that.
we need to make sure that this, I'm not sure who the individual will be, but I presume it's this, Ms. Alexandria. It'll be here tonight.
Who's that now?
She is the.
From the engineering company?
What's that? Stephanie, yeah. I wondered, see, I asked it. Again, I don't know whether they synced this up against that.
I don't know if they even knew about this when this just got filed a
That's,
few
well,
months
I'm
ago.
gonna say, cause you start talking wetlands,
Yeah,
they have an issue.
well then they would need some level of a variance, to do that, so then now they're heading to the zoning board before they even come to you.
Well, this has to be scrutinized before, that'll just be something we talk about.
I agree.
Yeah, okay.
And there's insurance requirements in here. Like I said, the decommissioning, cash security is required. There's a decommissioning plan that has to be presented and reviewed and approved by the planning board. There's a requirement to enter in, if they're using a town road to move the equipment across, so you have to post a bond for damage to town roads and enter into an agreement to repair the roads. That's fairly standard. I mean, many of these things these folks already know about. This company is a division of NextAmp, and I have a couple projects going on in other towns with NextAmp. I've not dealt with this environmental design partnership group though. So they represent NextAmp in pursuit of necessary approvals.
The owner seems to be an individual.
Of which thing?
Well, when, in their application, the owner's listed as a single individual. Who's have local roots, whether it's a franchisee, I don't know how, I'm not sure.
So you got, this is, owner contact is John Zabeniak? Zabeniak,
I
maybe?
think that's what, it was a Cicero address or something?
Address in Cicero, property owner is an LLC called 1800 Arsenal Street LLC. The NextAmp contact is Eliza Sheps. And what they've done is they've formed an LLC called Chittenango Solar to own the project LLC, but this LLC is some sort of a spin-off from NextAmp, which is a much bigger company. Now, what they do is they go around and form every time they build a project, they create an LLC for liability purposes. That's why.
Well, I think Dollar General does the same thing.
Yeah, they do the same thing. They'll do something PropCo, and the idea is you insulate the bigger company from liability. You get something, you try to go. So our rules don't prohibit. That's totally fine, but it's just something to know about how the projects work.
All right.
Yeah. So then,
What I'll do, John.
there's a lot in here, Frank.
Yeah. What is it safe would it be safe here in the next few days to copy this one that is labeled with a local file?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there's not gonna be
Yeah, this
much,
is a-
any change
yeah,
to speak of.
this is
So the
exactly
board
what's
can
on
have
file.
something here to read to judge.
Yeah. But
They
they
don't
need to
have
read it,
anything.
they need to read it in conjunction with this
The
one.
existing one.
Yeah, the existing one. Now, what
Which
happens
may-
is, the general code usually blends these together. When we send these laws, we send them the general code. When Beth waits till she gets 4 or 5, because it's cheaper that way. And she sends them out the general code. The general code will blend them together on the website. And so a lot of this stuff goes into the website one, and you can read it together.
I'll do both.
It's a little
I'll do
bit
both, I'll
smaller.
get you copies, yeah. All right. We do have a newcomer with a familiar face. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. We are in the process of having a hearing for a subdivision on Marsh Mill. You wish to speak to that?
Yes.
No.
Marshmallow.
You want, I think are you looking
No,
for?
you're, no. Marshmallow where I live.
Oh, gotcha, not Marshmallow. No,
Okay.
Lakeport.
Okay, I got
Mixed
you
up the
there.
roads.
All right.
Sorry.
Not hearing any clatter here. We have a motion to close this hearing for its,
So moved.
I'll second
okay? Mr. Shepherd. Any discussion? Not hearing any, all those in favor?
it. Aye.
Okay. Secretary, secondary, please.
The advertisement in the paper was that Denise Rome is next. Public hearing will be held by the Town of Sullivan Planning Board pursuant to section 276 of the town law on the application of Denise Rome for approval of subdivision of land located at 1136 Walnut Road, Bridgeport, SLB being 9.24-1-22.21. The applicant proposes to subdivide this area into 2 1/2 acre parcels. Lot number 1 is 75 feet of road frontage, and lot number 2 has over 100 feet of road frontage. The hearing will be held on June 7th, 2022, at the Town Office Building, 7507 Lakeport Road, Shenango, New York, at 6:15 p.m., at which time all interested persons will be given an opportunity to be heard. A copy of the plat of said subdivision has been filed with the town clerk and is available for public inspection prior to the public hearing. This and all meetings held by the Town of Sullivan are open to the public.
Okay. I didn't realize that had occurred.
Well, this is what went out in paper apparently, so.
Okay, let's do this though, because I think the Reams, they aren't here. No one's here.
Okay.
So that'll give them another 10 minutes or something for them to show up. They've got to have somebody here to hear.
You want me to read the-
Jody's here, and she's got some support here. So let's do that, and if that's what people are aware of, that's what we'll do.
You want me to read that one?
Yeah, please.
A public hearing
I'll
will be held by the
kill
Town of
those
Sullivan
two.
Planning Board on June 7th, 2022, at 6:30 p.m. at the Town of Sullivan, 7507 Lakeport Road, Shenango, New York, to consider the application of Jody Bumina for property located at 7515 Lakeport Road, Shenango, New York, SLB being 33.1-1-22.1 for a special use permit pursuant to the zoning schedule of the Town of Sullivan zoning law to allow a retail gift shop out of her home. The above application is open to inspection at the Town Office Building, 7507 Lakeport Road, Shenango, New York, during regular business hours. Persons wishing to appear at such hearing may do so by person, attorney, or other representative.
Okay. Just so you're aware too, everything's being taped here tonight, so yeah.
Appreciate the sign.
Read the signs, see the cameras. Okay. We just don't have the little thing there that says take one. Okay.
Or plus.
Yeah. Okay, again, anyone wishes to speak to this hearing, please direct your comments to the board, and we'll make sure everybody's heard. You're up.
So I'm Dan Veal, familiar face here. So I definitely think this is a fantastic idea for the community. Having a place where we can buy consignment items, I think it's good anytime because it's going to secondhand use rather than to a landfill. But I think it's even more important because it's going towards a charity cause. And so hopefully there's been a lot of polarization with animals in our community. And so this is something I think people can rally around and support.
Okay. Anyone else? okay, we'll sit tight. Maybe what we ought to do, if that's in a paper, if she's in the paper at 6:30, we ought to wait, we won't close this one until 6:45.
Good.
That way we covered everything. We'll get done.
It's got 6 feet here, so it blocks up and drain right up there.
Right.
The elevation is 564, so you can get 6 feet of drop, and it's gonna go right through the entrance to 665, and it's 65 here, so this to me seems like that's the goal, you got a swale over here.
Ask him.
Those are the swell.
Pardon?
Yeah,
But then you think it's gonna be across the drive there?
What I'm thinking is you could get a rush of water coming right down there into the entrance if somebody's
Well,
trying to pull in or pull out, and I mean.
I don't know. Ask him. He and Eldon picked it up.
Yeah,
Didn't say.
yeah. That wasn't one of the comments?
No, I believe not. Whatever, I have the original.
Because it's 65 on each side. and
Hang on
that's-
here.
that means the most solid.
I'm sorry. Yeah. No. Pardon?
This is more detailed here.
Yeah, I don't know, there's names all over the place, I don't know. No, Eric? Okay, Smith Cove, but this is ag data statement. I don't know, I'm not sure how that works. These guys are parcel owners that I believe they're in Ag District 3. Okay?
Just one, I don't know what.
This is now this,
That's their own zone.
right, but let me show you, there's a map on,
As long as you got it under control.
no, I don't have it under control. If you look in here, this first page, where's mine? This is mine. Well, anyways, same thing. Yeah, those people are neighbors, but the first,
Yes.
one of the first,
So, okay, so he's got.
one of the first pages is
Coming down the slope, okay.
Catch as much
No,
as it can, whatever goes over it. It's,
What? But I think it has something to do with the ag district,
Okay. No, we're good.
because I saw arrows everywhere.
Oh, yeah, I don't know, if you got time tonight, if you can, the board would probably benefit from having a copy of the pages from Mark from there down. for solar. Unfortunately, we I think they all have the new changes to solar that we just approved, but from this page all the way to the end. would be them, I think. You can't do it this way.
Hang tight here. Too many things flying around. Here's your,
Okay, so that's what it looks like.
here's your initial part of the Judas 4A.
Yeah, I've got that.
But that,
Yeah,
if that
you
doesn't
should
mention it, or the final, then
This,
you gotta ask them here.
this
'cause I
has
don't
got
know.
manholes.
Yeah, it looks like they got some, they
It
Yeah.
looks
collected
like they've
it,
got
took it down.
manholes here that catch.
That looks
what's
like,
coming out.
yeah.
That's more detailed. And then when you look here at the closer to elevation, this is 562, which they didn't have it in that other one, but this one here, it seems like it's gonna,
562?
that's what it says here. This is 562 here, this is 564, 565, or 563, so you got a little bit of slope, but here,
It's interesting that that elevation.
65, well, actually it goes from 60, because in the back it's at 570, so you're dropping
Right,
6
right.
feet from.
I'm just saying in relative numbers, that's all.
Yeah.
The sewer plant's 450.
Where's the landscape?
Yeah, we haven't seen that,
Yeah.
but they said that was, they took care of it. But I haven't seen it, I know I haven't seen it either.
Until we see it.
Okay, let me get that one.
You know, the thing I think about too is remember back on Tuscarora Road, probably about 20 years ago, they dug into the sandbank there, built some of those houses down near the hill that goes down toward the church and Ballard Road. And They just washed right.
That's from them,
About the landscaping?
yeah, down and get down there. I did that, but I thought it was gonna be on the plans. All right, so,
And you
Those-
really didn't
those I
intrude
don't
the
have
building
any
out,
of
they
that.
only did the facade.
Yeah.
They didn't really take the building out.
this is from one of
Yeah,
the
you could barely notice it.
underlings there.
Because the scale of the
And
building
that's
is
what
so
he
huge.
responds to the comments that the board made last month, because I talked to him about that.
Wait, what I'm saying is that, is this gonna be a stable enough bank, even though they're
They're
putting
on
in?
the engineering side.
Yeah.
They did look at that, and they know the site.
Yeah, I mean, they would understand it better than I do.
Oh, you just said for
I mean, yeah, it's, just goes over there, yeah. You know, thing is we're gonna do it, might as well do it now.
It's
Because
You live with this forever.
the thing is that's gonna be a highly visible location, and you're gonna get complaints about it, you know?
okay. It's email, and it goes to that,
Their
it's email, and it's Chris
And I
Stats.
guess so.
If it goes back, it's email, it's on there, it's like,
I mean, it just looks so stark, even with those girls, you know?
If you're coming in, we are having a hearing at this moment with Ms. Guma's application for a second hand shop right over here on the corner to benefit rescue animals, namely monkeys, I guess, right? Or all?
All kinds.
Okay. Okay. Now, there was confusion, because I see the Reeves back there. There was confusion, what was published and what we had was not the same. You're one off, but we wanted to make sure that we accommodate people that were here for that one. You're next. Okay?
Frank, they do a proposal on C5. So
C5, did you get to see it? Yeah, I did.
This is basic, very, very basic. You got lines of trees, and you got-
Pretty minimal.
Well, tell them more. Yeah, that's okay. We've got a couple, we got some stuff out there. I think we have a question. Again, the question would be the septic too, because I'm not sure that they have a sign off on that. Back in the town, the county kicked it back. Their demand is very small. You're looking at about 300 gallon a day.
Yeah,
That's a one bedroom house.
right.
That's pretty low.
Yeah, it's gray, yellow. Yeah. Well, that's why, you know,
Okay.
we had some contrast with that, you know, that stuff.
You saw, this is their P and L's final, that's P and L's final. Basically, they're having a problem amongst them. They need them much less. With that.
So this solar farm here is proposed to, is a new item.
Brand new.
Okay. But where is that gonna be?
Like right across from Smith Ridge Road.
Just before you get to the trailer park.
Right.
Oh, so that buffer trees is gonna be.
Correct.
in there.
It shows them on their map, their story.
'Cause I have-
those are things that, no, those are things that we gotta, you know. We're gonna have an intro and we'll get the ball rolling with that one. And then we'll get a law and make sure that, you know, they gotta make sure that they have, they can conform to this law.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes sense to have something, that's gonna be a very high contract. Yeah. You know, and have the right side, yeah. I mean, it's just, yeah, I mean, there's kind of just some start, you know, there's no, okay. I mean, you said, okay, hold on, there, you just, yeah. I mean, you got so much brown that it's just. There's like brown stone, brown siding, brown stuff, canopies, you know, just. I don't know why.
You might wanna, here, you guys might wanna read that quick. It's a copy of that. I just don't wanna lose it in this paper shuffle here tonight.
Sure, thank you.
Didn't we all order coffee?
What time's pizza get? Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
You just wanted us to see this.
Thank you, Phil.
So what Phil just gave you is the existing solar law that we've had for since 2017.
I know.
A few months ago, we added those new provisions that Frank had handed out to you earlier.
No, I have not.
Oh.
That's why I said I didn't
Oh,
know
I'm
where, I
sorry.
didn't really know what was going
All right, we
on.
gotta get them the new ones.
So I'm gonna get them that and
Okay.
get them.
I'm sorry, gotcha. Which application are we doing right now? Which public hearing we
Who's
have?
on first? Well,
We're doing.
who's on first is going.
We're gonna do.
All right. Is there
We can start.
anyone, I don't see, unless Forrest wants to comment on the Gumina application? Forrest? Okay. Not having any more response here, board, can we close? Now, let's keep this hearing open and we'll close it at the end of the ream, just to make sure if somebody comes in, says things are confused. Go ahead, Secretary, read the notice for a second.
A public hearing will be held by the Town of Sullivan Planning Board pursuant to section 276 of the town law on the application of Denise Green for approval of subdivision of land located at 1136 Walnut Road, Bridgeport, New York. SOB bearing 9.24-1-22.21. The applicant proposes to subdivide the said area into two 1/2 acre parcels. Lot number 1 has 75 feet of road frontage, and lot number 2 has over 100 feet of road frontage. The hearing will be held on June 7th, 2022 at the Town Office Building, 7507 Lakeport Road, Chittenango, New York, at 6:30 p.m. At which time all interested persons will be given an opportunity to be heard. A copy of the plan of said subdivision has been filed with the town clerk and is available for public inspection prior to the public hearing. This and all meetings held at the Town of Sullivan are open to the public.
Okay, people just came in, this meeting is being taped. Live eyes up there, okay? So you're aware of that. And there's also been a little confusion here, we got like 4 hearings. The slot was advertised different than we had organized it, so actually, we've had the Gumina hearing. If you're here, I don't know Bob would be, but if you're here to speak to the Gumina application, you can do so now. We've kept that hearing open. Okay. All right. Other than that, we are talking about a subdivision down on Walnut Grove, right? Okay. And if anybody wishes to speak to that, just please make your comments to the board. And If not, we will, twiddle our thumbs here for a second until we have the fourth hearing, which will be the Dollar General. Okay, how we doing? We in sync? Ty? Okay, all right. Pardon? Go ahead. I mean, I just think, we told them, but there again, nothing's closed. Nothing's closed.
I just think it's so, the building's so big, how you won't even notice.
Okay.
They really only bumped the facade, they didn't bump the building out. They just bumped this piece here out on the plans. Building's still set back.
Oh, okay.
Comes out in the middle of the trip.
Okay. I think that probably, part of that would be my fault.
Yeah, and I did too, and I told them the same thing, we said 12 to 18, and look at it, and according to.
But I'm thinking, I said probably, it's the structurally, they probably have to change anything, but
My
they're,
problem is, as an architect, you should look at it and see that it wasn't out enough, other than it doesn't look right.
okay,
They should know enough.
okay.
You tell them.
They don't, Griffiths, again, we go through that with them,
But somebody.
but they don't do that. Griffiths did that, somebody did.
Somebody did, I should have said, "Dude, a little bit more than this." I think we should find this cost money.
Yeah, oh yeah,
They don't understand.
absolutely. Yeah, bring it up, let's see where it goes.
That, the color, it's all brown. Brown.
So now you're creating, I have all the pictures here of the phone, much nicer, look more elegant. He said, that just changed the color, that's not.
I mean, it's such a highly visible location,
Very true.
and that's the first thing, if you put something up there that's not attractive, people are gonna comment about it immediately.
Okay.
I mean, the one.
Well, it's a lot, right now, it's a lot different than what you have downtown.
Oh, yeah, but the thing is
It's
that,
much of room, but it can go one more step, I think, you wanna try?
but that place is hidden. You can't see it as broadly and as openly.
Oh, no.
You just basically see one side,
Yeah.
or you see the,
Yeah.
two sides, yeah, there's a, wooded area behind it.
That's fine, bring it up. Dan himself will be here, just same fellow from last year.
Okay.
Sure.
No, I mean, you just, yeah, do something contrasting, it doesn't have to be the same color. These colors are all so close, can't you just contrast the really brown? Yeah, it's just neat, just here, just have a little gray in there. Look at that.
This is white around here. Instead of the brown.
Yeah. And then you have the white accent on here, on the outside. And it was the stone come up to the high. Well, it just, I wanted to look like this to be hold on. Okay, what's up? We just,
That's right.
accents, you see those, the trim here, we got the white accents.
We're not gonna get it, the state's gonna take it.
It's very static, you know, it doesn't really have, it's not really an accent, it's just.
This is well, it's about which is pretty big, but, 50. This one, I don't know. I don't know if their application meets requirements for what they're supposed to submit, I don't think they know yet.
Yeah, there's another photo.
Is there,
Yeah.
is there one that size going on in the state someplace else?
50? I don't know if there should be, I think there's, we're handling one down in Portland that's about 90 megawatts. Yeah, they cover street now.
Oh, we're saving those for you.
Sorry.
Yeah, the return. Yeah. We're in the process of having our third hearing right now.
Okay.
Then we'll start yours in about 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
So that's for the LLC or what? Property owner is his LLC. And Cicero, and this guy is the
Yeah,
representative.
really.
That's the- These new people are.
That's still going, but we aren't gonna have anything to do with that. At this point, there's litigation in the state to change Como, they set a cutoff of 20 megawatts.
Mhm.
Okay, anything that hits that threshold is out of local jurisdiction. We have jurisdiction up to that, and the law that we were talking about earlier would apply here.
Mhm.
But once we get there, it's taken out of our hands.
Yeah.
Well, that's being, partial of that is
It's
being
being challenged
litigated,
in court.
being litigated at this point as to, yeah, we should have some say. I mean, that's a huge, you're looking at 300 and some odd acres of land being used.
Right.
I mean, it's just a lot of panels,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
a lot of panels.
This is last month, when we did it, pop this off. Yeah, that's it. I mean, everything is the same. No, they just put those, yeah. That's, that's. Well, they did put those, fake panels on the back. Yeah, on the back, that's fine, yeah, nobody will see it. You don't even need to put anything in it. Take the money and spend it back here, put like something in it. Yeah, nobody can see it, just the truck drivers, you know, they don't expect much. Basic drafting class.
Okay. We got having a hearing on the reams. I heard nothing about the reams other than the phone ring. Stephen? Nothing about that. Anybody wishes to speak to that? You want to know what we're talking about? It's a subdivision down on Walnut Grove. Okay. Let's go back. Gumina. Jody Gumina has an application in front of us.
I'm sorry, it's Gamina.
Gamina, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Has an application in front of us for a secondhand clothing shop or whatever. And right over here on the corner of Lakeport and Flyway. And because of confusion of notification, the hearings were mixed up. Does anyone wish to speak to that? Okay. I haven't heard anything on that. I'll ask the board to close both of those hearings.
I'll make the motion to close them.
No second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Not hearing anything? They're approved. Okay, Secretary, read the notice, please, of the final hearing.
A public hearing will be held by the Town of Sullivan Planning Board on June 7th, 2022 at 6:45 p.m. at the Town of Sullivan, 7507 Lakeport Road, Geneva, New York, to consider the application of Griffiths Engineering for property located at 1458 Route 5 West, Geneva, New York, SLD being 48-1-28.11, for a special use permit pursuant to the zoning schedule of the Town of Sullivan zoning law to allow the building of a Dollar General. The above application is open to inspection at the Town Office Building, 7507 Lakeport Road, Geneva, New York, during regular business hours. Persons wishing to appear at such hearing may do so by person, attorney, or other representative.
Okay, and I want to just preface here, people that are here, have been here for earlier hearings, you're the first people on the docket in that order, once we start a regular meeting at 7 o'clock. Okay, does anyone wish to speak to or for, against the Dollar General? Any comments? Please just address them to the board, give your name and address, please. For those that aren't totally aware, we're looking at a site right across from the plaza, right across from Tops Market, right next to the east of the physical therapy place. And Griffiths Engineering here is representing that development at this point. Okay, well, we'll hold for a few minutes and then we'll get on with the regular business. See, here's the other group who keep getting this. This is kind of the action we're talking about, solar farms. We could, do you want to ask some of the questions? I mean, we can deal with it, we just can't take any action until. There's some questions on the submittal of the last foray that we received today, okay?
Okay.
And we talked about updates, which we see, from what you had.
That's on the elevation drawings?
Right, well, there was a couple other questions. Why don't you, both of you, you want to come up here to the front?
Because I brought copies.
Oh, great.
This is
Well, we
Victor.
log out.
We've got,
Okay. This is Victor Nickel from the Pepper Grove Football Art. He's our client. So I have these are the latest plans as of yesterday with the revisions from your town engineer. You already printed all those?
Wait, yes, well, I believe they came from, Mr. Stasky, is that correct?
This morning?
Yes.
Okay.
it says 6/7/22.
Okay. You want some more?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
We always do.
There you go.
They're suitable for frame.
These are the latest ones, just to let you know, hopefully they match. And
Yeah, okay. All right.
here's your
Okay.
latest civil
John,
site
what do you
plans.
have?
I need one set of each,
Okay, I'll give them that if you want.
please.
One set of that.
And then Barbara, will Judas receive this set, or they're getting a set? Or
They have everything.
They have this particular
Yes.
updated set. When did they get them?
They got responded to yesterday with all their comments. They only a small group of comments from their letter.
Yeah, I said it was their letter, yeah.
So we responded to that with an email to the town
Okay.
and back to everybody with those. So they have everything.
Those are the same as what we got.
You want to,
Those stated June 6th, yeah, these are the same.
you're gonna if we got a little presentation, I want everybody to see that, we can kind of get over here a little bit maybe.
Okay, want me to move it over?
Yes, please. That screen is not functioning.
Okay. You want it facing this way then?
Half and half.
Half and half?
I can't see, maybe those folks can move over a little bit.
Okay.
Again, reminder, for about 10 minutes, we're still in the hearing. If anybody out there has a comment, we ask you just direct that to the board. Not really a back and forth here with Mr. Griffiths.
Want me to give a little presentation now then?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, all right.
We'll try to move things along.
No, that's fine. My name's Dan Griggs from Griggs Engineering, here on behalf of Capital Growth Quick Altar. That's Victor Nichols here with us as well. And I'll give you an overview of the site plan, go through the site access, stormwater drainage, and soil erosion control. And what we're looking to do is a 10,640 square foot Dollar General store on Route 5 down there. Here's an existing elevation drawing. That's what's proposed to there. There was a lot of comments from the board to upgrade the building, balance the lights. They wanted this portion of the front stuck out 12 inches, which we did. As far as the site plan goes, that's the landscape. We did 56 parking spaces on the site. That was part of the ZBA application that did get the variance approved. And we also designed it so a truck could get in and out, all the cars can get in and out with auto turn. And then all utilities are present. We have public water, natural gas, and 3-phase power and private septic, which is the septic is up in here and designed as well. Right now for New York State access is in at this location. The DOT did give us the location as an approval. They're the ones that told us to put it there. Told us to put the turning lane here, and pretty much said they're gonna be permitting it. They're just in their final stages of the review. We're in like the third iteration review. So we did submit a letter today. I don't know if you guys get the letter from the DOT.
Yes, got one here.
I think he's done. It's mainly getting into stage 3 of which is the construction's insurances for doing construction there. And unless a lot of stuff is like small traffic control, move this barricade over here or there. It's just small stuff that they're moving now, but they're pretty much there.
Basically, it just says they've agreed to that access.
They're gonna approve it, right?
And then again, I think their final approval always comes after development, doesn't that?
Well, you have to do stage 3, which is the contractor's insurance and bonding. And that's the final stage 3, which we're pretty much at to a point where he's just at the end of the stage 2 comments on traffic control devices. And stage 3 is we have to submit all the insurances and bonds. And then after that's in, they get a permit after the stage 3 is complete with the contractor that's actually building it. That's what the process is.
But usually it's an as-built acceptance, isn't it? They work with you on design and everything else, but the final approval is really given when it's done and they approve it too.
Basically, when stage 3 is approved and they get the contractor's insurance and bonding,
They're good.
That's the process right before construction, but they're pretty much there now. They're
Okay.
pretty, we went through 3 iterations with them already.
Okay.
So that you got that letter saying they're gonna permit it. It's just a matter of just finishing it. They're very backed up in the reviews, unfortunately. And I'm bugging them 2 times a week. So, so that's access to that. As far as stormwater drainage, in accordance with New York State, we have to do it for water quality and quantity. So whatever this site was in its existing condition, and with the proposed condition with the building and sidewalks, we cannot increase the point source flow at any one point. So we did a SWIP, showed the calculations, it goes into underground detention to store it and lets it out at pre-existing conditions. I know your town engineer reviewed everything that we had as well, and they seem to be in agreement with what we had, and that's what the SWIP was about, so you do not adversely impact adjacent neighborhoods. So that's what a SWIP was for. During construction, the SWIP has soil erosion control measures for silt, construction entrance, so you're not tracking out the road and things, and it'll need weekly inspections. And I'm sure your code officer will be keeping an eye out. There's a book kept at the site. So every week there'll be an inspection, and if there's any deficiencies, they'll make them upgrade it. Or if someone starts seeing something get tracked into the road, they could get stopped, and they have to, get it cleaned up and keep it, so there's no sediment that leaves the site is the main goal.
On C3A, you've got, those are manholes that are, I guess that's on the left side of the parking area heading toward the exit.
There it is. Oh,
That's 3. I fix these up for priorities. Okay, what do you say now?
You said those are manholes that you're gonna have there on the left side of the highlighted area. You got right there where your finger is, that's the drain, you got a manhole there, correct?
Correct.
Okay, now then, if you come straight down on that, those are additional manholes that are gonna be in the parking lot, or?
Yes.
Okay.
It's part of the system. One of them is called this one right here in particular is called a downstream defender. What that does when we route the water through it, it's an approved water quality with New York State. So meet the water quality requirements of the stormwater. So once it runs through there, it goes into an underground contact chamber, it attenuates for the storm, so we don't just let it out, and then it finally, after it gets up to a certain storm event, it'll let it back out when to pre-existing conditions. So basically, it takes the hit from the pavement, the roof, everything goes through the downstream defender into the contact system that's underground. That fills up, but over time, comes back here and goes back out like it did before. And you just didn't want to ram it off the hill and going off the side.
Right, because I mean, there's 6 foot drop in elevation from rear to
Yeah.
front, so.
And probably, I mean, I do farming stuff too, but probably the worst this thing you ever saw is when they ever dished up that whole mountainside. And we all do it, when you're farming, and that water, until that establishes grass, that's probably the worst I ever saw in its life, because it's just running through that stuff until it grows grass, and it was probably slamming this for a while.
And someone from your office will be doing the slope inspections?
They usually hire a local person here, and then they have to work with your code officer.
Thanks.
There'll be a book left on site too, there'll be
Mailbox?
the mailbox and all that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I believe last time too, I left you with all the copies of the subdivision plans too, right? All the Mylars and copies.
Yes, they're in here.
Okay.
That just, we said that when we get to final action, we'll roll that all together. So, no sense in having your subdivision done if
Right, no, that's what
the
the
project isn't.
When I was here last time, I was the ones that wanted to wait.
That's right, that's on now. Okay, we have, I don't see any new faces here. Does anyone have any comments about Dollar General questions? Yes, sir.
Jim Reynolds, Salt Springs Road. Just curious, it sounds like due diligence has been done, but I just haven't seen the plans. Is the turn-only lane gonna be coming if I guess you're going westbound? Is that what's gonna be installed there?
Yeah.
Which direction, are you talking about going this direction?
Yeah, westbound.
This one?
Yep.
Yeah, the DOT made us put a left turn lane in there, and they did not want to they made sure of that.
And where does it line up? Do you know the existing entrances to Tops and?
Yes.
Yeah, they were really strict on where they wanted that, because initially, I had this driveway up here.
Mhm.
They were looking at all the entrances across the street everywhere, and DOT made me move it to a certain spot for approval, period, because of what they wanted to do. Because this had a left turning lane into there.
Yeah.
They wanted a left turning lane matching here, and they had everything in a certain spot for approval is what they wanted. They were very specific to us. We had 20 feet this way initially.
Do you have a verbal description or a way to show where that lines up with either the top, I don't know how there's cultural entrances.
I'm looking at C2.
Yep, let me go
And,
back.
and underlined, not highlighted, but underlined are the boundaries to the plaza. It does show that entrance
Yeah,
across.
it does.
If you stood up there, you could see that on that, it won't show for a distance.
Right here. Typically, they'll come in and then they'll turn them.
So is it lining up directly with the,
Yes.
Yeah.
You'll
with
see
this?
right where these lines are.
Main entrance?
What's
Okay.
going on. You see right here is the turning lane, the DOT's very.
I'm trying to find the entrance to the
Yeah.
existing casino
They
there.
pretty much wanted, whatever you were doing left going into here,
Yep.
they wanted to mirror going into here, so it's consistent.
Do you know if the New York State did it, or whether the town did any type of traffic review?
Yeah,
on
see,
it?
they have, and we have a copy of that, and which was negative.
Okay.
As far as, any kind of a impact.
Yeah,
It was done by an independent outfit.
It was independent.
Not them.
Okay, thank you.
And they're very, very critical on that, the DOT
It
was.
sounds like it.
Yeah, very critical.
Any other questions concerning Dollar General? Okay, have a motion to close this hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Not hearing any, all those in favor? Opposed? Hearing is closed. Okay, the Town of Sullivan Planning Board for the month of June 2022 will commence meeting. And we have circulated the minutes for the May meeting to all the board members prior. At this point, I'll entertain a motion to amend or approve.
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second it, and I think I
I'll
told
amend that.
Rose to change it.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Not hearing any, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I have agenda in front of me here, that we had 4 hearings, and we'll see people in that order. And then we'll start the new business. And in new business, I have Leslie or Terry Gillette. Is there somebody okay, gotcha. You're up there, and Mr. Moharder. Okay, I saw him. James Cobb. Okay, I'm not sure. This is for Coda Ventura. There's a subdivision down on Smith Ridge. Might be Moore. I think it is. Mike Moore, survey. Okay, we haven't seen anybody. Okay. And last but not least will be Nango Solar. For somebody, okay? And, okay. And then we'll have that. Okay? Mr. Shepherd, come forward, please. You don't have to come all the way up. This is whatever. We have a 1-lot subdivision on Marsh Mill, of which they're cutting out about an acre out of 161 acres, correct? And does the board, and we've done seeker, board have any concerns about any of this at this point?
Which one is this again?
Right? Okay, Marsh Mill.
Right, easiest one of the room.
Marsh Mill, 1 acre, right, road front. Is that Lands of Hubs? Mr. Hubs got any more land down there? We've done quite a few of these things.
Probably somewhere.
Okay. All right. There it is right there. Okay. Marsh Mill, okay. That should be zoned ag. Where are we in relation to the, may not be known as that now, but the Catullus property?
Well, part of my property is right straight across from Joe Catullus.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, I can show you if you want.
Oh, okay, all right. But it's right here.
Yeah, it's on, it's
Okay,
on the
I
other
didn't know
side.
whether
It's on
it was
the
up-
other side of the road. So you're looking at the map.
Right, you're on the north
North
side.
side.
You're on the north side.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Any other questions?
What's the address of the numbers?
My house,
Yeah.
863.
Any questions?
No.
Okay, have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Not hearing any, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay, you're good to go. Now, Forrest, you got, you take care of the maps and stuff?
I'll drop them off.
Okay, the deal is, Forrest knows the drill.
Yep.
That, you got 60 days from the time we sign them, or you pick them up when we sign them. You get them technically, this could be null and void. It's slim to none that that'll ever happen, but.
And once that happens, address
Pardon?
address will happen for that lot.
Yeah, I think once you get this, they may want you to file that.
Usually the
so-
town did it for me last time when I
Well,
bought
really,
land. They got me an address.
we don't get the numbers, right?
You can get it
Phil
down
did it for
911. Yeah, I did it for
911.
you. You can ask Jerry to give,
I'll talk to
Okay,
you.
all right, they'll take care of it. All right, good.
Good enough.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Now, what I don't have in here We did the secret, where is it? You have a copy of that?
Come on.
Okay.
I might have got that.
I have my notes say we did it, so I know we did it in the minutes.
Yeah, here's a notice of that, but I don't. Oh, I got
I think I
it.
handed mine up.
Oh, wait a minute, I'm okay, I'm all right,
Yes, okay,
I'm good.
very good.
All right, good. Yep, we're good. Okay, Jody. All right, we got a county GML back on that, and they had no problem, local determination, except they did mention the multiple signs, but I think we changed that,
We
right?
changed that.
Right? Okay. And what I'm looking for is a copy of that beautiful map that we, oh, here it is.
That was a perfect map.
And why we're laughing is that, and I'm open to criticism here, I helped out a little bit. Helped out a little bit, and it's not truly to scale, okay? But it's an upgrade from what we had before.
That's right.
I'll say that, okay? Find that one. No. Okay, what we did is we took a tax map. We took a tax map and just put it on here, but the scaling wasn't gonna work very easily at that time. But notice that we got five parking places to the south of the house, with one of them a handicap, and then we had a couple in the back. Now, this is a residence of which she's only using that first floor with that back part there not available, okay, for it. So in other words, sales floor would be what you see here in that front, that roughly 24 by 35, 36. That would be sales floor. Entrance would be in the front. Now, one of the things she had, if you look up on there, she wanted banner signs. We asked not to do that. They're going to be affixed, and the local sign maker up the road is going to take care of those. She also wants a sandwich board out front. Now the hours of operation, Joey, go through those, please.
I think we put 12 to, we're not gonna be open Monday or Tuesday. It's like Wednesday through Sunday. And it's 12 to 5, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, probably 11 to 6. Saturday and Sunday still up in the air, they're probably gonna be like 10 to 4. Not gonna be late evening hours or anything like that.
The purpose, if you hear the hours of operation, which are very varied, probably a sandwich board that says we're open, type of thing would be appropriate there. Otherwise, it's that.
Hours are not consistent.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, okay.
Where is that sandwich board gonna be located?
Right on Lakeport Road, right near the front door.
Okay, so it's not gonna be out
On
near
the
the road?
grass. No,
Okay.
Well,
no,
okay.
there's a
Front
big-
door is not very far from the road.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying, you
No,
can't
it's
put it
gonna
out
be
too
out
far, and
this-
it'll be in the right of way.
It'll be like right where the corner is, pretty much. People always put signs right there, so I'm just gonna put the sandwich board there.
Okay.
Judy, can you tell me the hours again?
Monday,
Close
Tuesday
Monday and
closed.
Tuesday.
Okay.
Wednesday, Thursday, 12 to 5. Friday, it's gonna be like 11 to 5 or 6 maybe would be the latest.
Say 6, so you don't get trouble.
Okay.
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 And then you got one more day, no.
Saturday and Sunday is going to be like 10 to 4, both days.
10 to 4.
That's what I did do.
Well, you don't have to do those hours, you're asking for these.
Right.
You're not obligated,
Yeah,
you're not obligated to open, but if you're open,
Right.
then you covered your day.
You wouldn't be able to open before or after you figured it out.
Okay.
That's all.
You sure you're okay with 4 on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
It's all supposed to be that little hard pack.
For right now, only because I don't have anybody lined up to work it other than me, and I've got other responsibilities. So for right now, that's about all I can do.
Why don't you see how this goes?
Okay.
And if you find that you need to adjust those, you can come in and the board will entertain an amendment to whatever you're doing.
Perfect.
But you need to have something down, definitely. Okay?
So Frank, the sandwich board sign would be taken in when it's not non-business hours, the sandwich
Absolutely.
sign
Right.
goes in or whatever.
Yes.
That would be my thought.
Absolutely.
Okay, you're there because your hours are odd, you need to be able to say, we're open, okay? And your signage is, we don't really have an elevation, in other words, we don't really have a schematic of the sign,
The sign is going to be 2 feet by 8 feet.
right?
And it's gonna go up in between the first floor windows and the second floor windows.
Okay,
And one will be facing Lakeport and one will be facing Pilot.
okay. Now, because your husband's business is right there, those parking places, you probably are gonna have to do something to kind of label that these are the parking places for the shop. And you're gonna probably have to put up a little, maybe mark them out and have a sign there. Now, we know that sometimes they won't always be
Right.
available, but you can't have them all gone.
Right. Yeah, and he's planning that. He's planning that,
So,
he's not gonna move cars over there when the business is open.
Yeah.
It'll be just for the business.
Okay, so in the motion, we'll just say that, she's gotta designate those parking spaces. Okay, are we okay? You got any questions, folks? Anything else? We have a motion to do, one way or the other here?
We'll do seeker in that motion. And
Okay, let's do
the
seeker.
conditions I heard, Frank, were, the parking to be labeled, as you just mentioned, right? That the sandwich board sign will only be displayed during open business hours. Rose has the hours. And let's see, parking spots, thousands, okay.
The sign attached to the building.
Yeah, the attached sign, whatever those dimensions are, Rose. No, will not utilize a banner type sign.
Right.
No banner sign.
What was the sign, what dimensions?
2 foot by 8 foot.
That's a fixed, right?
Yes,
Two of those signs, you said?
yes.
So there's no additional, there's no lighting or anything like that associated with the use, or is there some kind of outdoor lighting?
I don't believe so. I don't think
Okay.
there's
Okay.
lights out there right now.
Okay, I'll go through the seeker form then. So this is for the special use permit, right? So, will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulation? Proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land to be small.
No.
The proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community. There's no CEA here, so we skip that. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkways? No. The proposed action causes an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities. No. Proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies or wastewater treatment facilities. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of an important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resource? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to any natural resources? Proposed action result in an increase in potential erosion, flooding, or drainage? Will the proposed action create a hazard for environmental resources or human health? No. So we said no or small impact to all of these. You are the lead agency. This would be a negative declaration, which would go along with with a resolution to approve the special use permit with the conditions already noted to the secretary.
I'll make the motion to approve.
We can meld that together.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made and seconded with all the conditions that John just listed for us. Any discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
Good, you're getting those back.
Thank
You're
you.
getting those back.
Thank you.
Okay, good to go. Greens.
Did you get the maps I dropped off last week? Right.
I did not get, I just saw yours. Let's see what's in the folder. I haven't looked.
Okay.
So I haven't looked.
An email?
Yeah, I got the email. Yeah, certainly looks like it.
So when we did
What do
this,
you got, Randy? Let's see what you got. No, these are 528. That was 528.
Twice when I got 421.
you see that looks like the other side.
Yes. They're good?
528?
The tax map was wrong. When we made the initial sketch plan, it was off the tax map, but the tax map had one property platted wrong. And I ran it past Madison County and they agreed that it's wrong. So we had to fill in that corner here as one lot.
What was it?
It's, here's this parcel here is plotted on the tax map. This is correct,
This is correct now?
and that was wrong.
Yeah, it's
So,
extending beyond a little bit more.
so it's over here more.
Oh, okay,
Oh, I see.
okay.
There's no way.
Yeah, all right.
So now this is all one lot.
So is there an easement for this? or-
Yes, yep.
Okay,
There's an old right of way
okay.
from years ago. So this is an existing house, they're making a parcel around, and this is vacant. And that's the remaining.
Water, sewer, everything, correct?
Yeah,
Septic
'cause this is-
Yeah.
and water,
And water.
Pardon?
septic and water, and hopefully sewers down the road.
Oh, you didn't get, the sewer's not down there?
No, they're coming.
Okay. Okay.
So, what's it, another 20, 30 feet to the side. And it's 109, 12.
Yeah, you're good without it, as far as the size and everything.
Yes.
You're all good.
Yes.
Not a problem there. Have any questions here, folks?
No?
Oh, it's straightforward.
Okay. Seeker should have been done,
It was.
should be covered. Can we have a motion here?
I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? You're good?
Thank you. I'll drop the maps off.
Okay.
I got one.
You, representative you. Okay. I think you that folder. This is that one. Okay, Dollar General. All right. So they're sitting out here and they're going in. Not following, right, whatever. What? Your feeling is that you punched all the buttons.
I did all your review comments of your town engineer, I tried to do everything you guys asked for, and DOT, we did everything.
Okay, is there anything here on the part of the board, anything else that you'd like to see in the
I
town?
did push the building out 12 inches,
I did, we'll talk about that soon.
because they
I
moved
meant
it
to
up.
bring this up last month, but I forgot, and I was thinking about, are you married to those colors? I mean, I'm looking, they're not really corporate colors, the dark brown everywhere. Does it have to be brown?
That's what they use
Some of the places, I did a little research, not
most of them
everywhere.
that we've been doing the upgrades for,
Right,
but
but that can be changed,
I can't speak to that. So we could,
you don't know?
the Dollar General gets very particular with certain things
I know.
and signs and
Well,
different
certain
things.
things
So
in their trademark, right?
that's what I'm getting at. So I know this, they tried to make it, I know they did push it out 12 inches, you know, this whole section.
We've gotten on that.
We did balance the
down
lights.
road, haven't we?
Yeah.
No, I know what you did, I saw that.
So,
Yeah, that looks a lot better. Yeah, yeah, I think that's good. Got the shrubbery. Now, you mentioned shrubbery, do you want more shrubbery there, or is that?
You go to the landscaping plans on C5.
yeah, and I can show you that here. I can show you what it looks like with real pictures. If you want to know. Who had the shrubbery questions? Up here with it.
I'm just looking, Paul and I were looking at it.
I'll just show you what the tree, what was what with real life pictures so you can visualize it.
Like, what's going on here, the real critical, right out.
Okay, right out here are these right here. Which are your, that's a B, this is your boxwood, so those are these right here.
And then at the point here in the corner.
In the corner there's that small crab apple right there. In the corner and there, and then I'm dressing it up with these in here, and here, and here, and on the corners. They're doing, you know, basically maples. Yeah. You know, on the outside.
There's so much of building, 140 feet, can you do more than just, did a couple, a gap here of nothing.
If you want me to put more, I'll put more, as long as you're okay with it. If you want a little more of these, the smaller bushes, usually Kirk's okay with that.
I mean, it's such a highly visible location, and, you know, just something to kind of break it up a little bit, because otherwise you see that.
Yeah, we could adjust that.
Just, you know, just make it a little bit more appealing.
So you want more of this type of stuff, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Now,
That's not a problem.
Boxwoods, they're good.
what is,
Hardy?
I'm assuming that there's a landscaping contract for maintenance around the exterior. Would that include the trees and the shrubs to be maintained?
I mean, right now, we have our landscape architect design it.
I'm saying, you know, like routine maintenance of mowing, you know.
I'm not involved in that contract with the Dollar General, but
Well,
typically.
that's a typical that's a typical condition for
Yeah.
something. I've got a whole list of conditions
So
that
you
we
could-
use in other projects that I'll go over with you.
Okay.
For your code
Similar
officer, you could
convenience
have that,
stores
right?
that we've done, yes.
Okay.
For your code officer, you could have that for what you want.
Yeah, and I'll have it all laid out.
Okay.
You're gonna get a written formal resolution
Okay.
that this board will consider, but Paul's comment is something that, yes.
Yeah, who's gonna
We
take
would
care of what's
propose
there?
that.
So he's saying some more of these, they're,
Boxwoods.
boxwoods, he just wants some more of them, just space across the front, we don't have a problem with
And he
that.
wants them to be continuously maintained,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
project, which is normal.
I mean, it's very typical to have them put
Another
in.
question I didn't ask, and I never, is it Stasny? I wanna make sure I pronounce.
Stasny, yeah?
Thanks, guy. And I asked this question, I wasn't clear what I really heard. They kicked the septic back to the town. Have you submitted that design to the code people here?
Yes,
Have you got any response on that?
not yet,
Septic design?
yeah.
Okay.
It's
It
been
should
to
be
everybody.
it
Usually
should
we
be
put it in.
minimal, I mean, right?
We do those all the time, and I feel
Okay,
comfortable with it.
all right.
1,000 gallons.
That ought to be,
It's,
It's 1,000.
yeah, that ought to be just a
300 gallons a day we're
contingency
using.
that has gotta be, they gotta receive.
it's less than a house that we're
Yeah,
using, so
like
it's,
a
we do those all the time. If he wants a small change, we could, but I know it's been sufficient.
Okay, that's all, just.
Yeah, no problem.
With that. Anything else, your board? Okay, we've got B&L final comments, and they basically said, you know, just respond to whatever the couple final comments they had there, but you were good to go.
Which we did.
We got DOT, we got a traffic report. Who else had their finger in the pie here? think you're good with everything. You've contacted Aqua?
Yeah, they're gonna give us water, they're,
You're good with that?
yeah.
I saw that. Okay,
So I got a list of conditions we could try to go over.
all right, let's go.
Okay.
Let's hear 'em.
So
Are you gonna
this,
write
these are just discussion items. I'm gonna get you, you're gonna get a written, you're not gonna have to.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so one of the conditions we always say is that this project, they will build it the way they propose it. So it would say, all construction and operation will be in strict compliance with the submitted and approved plans and drawings. So the last version you got. And I lay out the entire set of drawings and plans as were delivered to us tonight. Do we cover hours of operation for the store? What are they?
Alright, typically, they can vary a little bit, but I know
Give
it's,
me what you want, don't give me.
no, typically, this is what I have, 7 AM, sometime 9 or 10 PM typically, right in there. 7 AM to 9 to 10 PM.
7 days a week?
Pretty much, and there's 2 to 3 employees per shift. And then right now, the lights, they usually go off 45 minutes after the store closes, so they're off for the night. That's when they go off.
I'll put that in.
With the interior lights, or is there any exterior lighting out there?
Yeah, you got 4 of them right
Well,
there.
there's probably a wall, there's probably a safety wall pack, right?
Okay.
Right, but any lights in the store within 45
Oh, okay,
minutes when
yeah,
the store closes, it's on a sensor, it goes off.
Alright, so I would say we'll add that to it, so the lights extinguish 45 minutes after closing. No outside storage permitted, so you can't leave a bunch of stuff out on the property. We're not obtaining any easements, right? You're not giving any easements to anybody with this one. Preparation-
I'd emphasize storage, because part of their slick is you do have things out front.
Yeah, I say
You
storage.
do have sale items and stuff like that.
Well, if they wanna keep
That's
them,
not
they probably
included.
move them in, don't they?
Yeah.
That doesn't preclude, we're not saying to preclude though.
Yeah, other than what they
Right.
show us, okay. Preparation and entering into any appropriate development construction agreements, I don't know if we'll even need any for that. We'll have a different agreement we're gonna enter into. Did you wanna have a deadline for, the completion of the work, finalized, completed, including landscaping? Is there any deadline to complete this?
What's the thinking here?
Go out as far as you think you need to. Give yourself a little room there.
I would just say probably by December 20th this year, just to be safe, it's gonna be done before then.
Yeah, an outside
And I
date
don't
is
wanna
fine.
go into the winter, but.
Okay, well, I'll put December 2022. All plantings and landscaping is depicted on the site plan drawing shall be continuously maintained, right? And should any species of tree or planting become diseased or die, such planting shall be promptly replaced with a similar size and type of tree or planting, so it's a maintenance requirement. Final approval of a SWIP. We're using, I'll get to the septic in a second. Compliance, with the Barton and Judas, I'll put the dated letter there, but I think you're good on that one.
It was an initial letter, then they got a response, and
Yeah.
we responded to them Friday.
We just haven't got to close up on
I'm gonna prepare a stormwater control facility maintenance agreement for them to execute. I'll do that in conjunction with you and B&L. That we don't need a sewer construction agreement, so we're okay there. We feel like we don't need additional approvals from B&L, right? We're good there. They're just gonna confirm it with them. We don't need a speedies permit for this, correct?
You'll get a notice of intent.
So,
I believe that's,
Yeah,
what I
right.
put in, if I'm not mistaken. If
It's in the B&L,
Okay, yeah, no worries, okay. I covered septic approval, and part of this is gonna be, are we baking the subdivision into this?
Yes,
In
we
one
got a line, yeah.
resolution?
Yep.
And then we have a law for reimbursement of professional fees, which is, lawyers and engineers.
They paid you initially already.
Was there anything else I left out so far for conditions? You guys are good with those? Those are all just basically what you proposed.
Yeah, I'll share them with the client, but, it's.
Yeah.
They're pretty standard.
I've got all the findings that track to our special use permit, and then I'll put in the subdivision language into that too. So you can do it all with one resolution, or you can do two, it's up to you.
Why don't we-
Do them separate, or
That's
together?
it. Whatever's most expedient, I think. We can do it either way. there any benefit, Bob, one way or the other for you?
No, it's fine.
So we have to vote on the subdivision?
Let's do that.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
Do you
let's
wanna
do
do the
that.
subdivision first?
Yeah.
Do the sub, yeah.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
So that the public knows, yes.
And one other thing for the board to possibly consider, not trying to stop it, I know you said the lights are gonna turn off, but consideration about light pollution, I believe.
They're all gotta be down, they all gotta be downward.
Downward and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
written in there.
Standard
somewhere?
stuff,
Okay.
yep.
Cause down the street, that's not the case and it's kinda
True.
everywhere.
I'll speak to that real quick. if
Go
that's
ahead.
Okay with you? So when we do these projects, we do a photometric plan, it's a plan set. And basically at the property lines, we try to be at 0 foot encroachments. So you'll see it, they're very strict in making it 0 at the property lines. And it's just these numbers on the print that show that.
Thank you guys.
Especially when you gotta come across that driveway from
Yeah,
tops or something, as if you're right in the face.
it's all on there.
All right, I think I've got everything, Frank, for this.
All right, let's do the subdivision. Subdivision, one lot subdivision, we had a hearing last month, we had no concerns at that point. Can we have a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Not hearing any, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the subdivision is approved, the maps are here, we'll get those signed.
Okay, thank you.
Special use permit.
Now the special use permit. Now, you can do this, we can do this with contingency, I think, that John is going to draft this resolution. You could say, if you wish, give me the right to sign off on that, if you wish to approve. And then these folks don't have to come back to another meeting, and we can take care of it that way. If you want to do that. So I would frame the motion is that you were giving contingent approval upon the acceptable production of a formal resolution with all the conditions that we have reviewed. We can word that to some extent.
The only thing we'll need is from the seeker negative declaration, I have to give that to DOT the minutes.
We did a neg deck at the last meeting on
Yeah,
this
so
project.
if someone could email me the minutes, DOT wants those as part of their approval process, the negative declaration.
I think
Double
the
check,
form, the seeker form with Frank's signature for a neg deck's also in it. So you
Yeah,
have the minutes
as long as we
and
have the
part
minutes
two.
and that, we'll give it
Yeah,
to
I
the
think that was
DOT.
we did that as an unlisted action, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so they just always want that as a
Yeah,
checklist.
that's totally.
Okay.
We can provide that. Rose, can you make a note of that?
You got them right there,
That's
Phil?
great.
You might have it.
That might be one thing to
Phil-
wait.
Phil's got
until-
some.
For the office, tomorrow or, whatever.
They won't give the permission to get that, they're pretty strict with that.
I have seeker was done in here. Let me see,
I'm not sure.
No, we didn't.
You don't have a seeker form in there? My
I'm not
notes,
sure.
I looked at, during the meeting, I looked at my notes and it says.
We haven't passed the
I mean,
resolution.
it's all part of their application.
I'm gonna go through
It
it
was,
right
it was submitted.
I don't
Hold
know.
on. now. I think it was 2 meetings ago. 2 meetings ago? Okay, so my notes say, April 8, 2022. The board declared itself lead agency.
Except for the subdivision?
And issued a negative declaration for purposes of, well, I wrote both, but maybe it was that only for the subdivision or was it for both?
Probably was a subdivision,
You should still have the short form signed by Frank in there.
but
Is it in there?
it will
It's in
be
the special
here,
use
it will
permit
be here if I have.
Yeah, no, I have the form for it, but I'm just trying to figure out, did we do this neg deck for both? Because we could
This
have
is
done
the
it for
one,
both.
here's the short form this is short form for the store, okay?
But I did fill
But
out,
wait a minute, I got another
I
I've
filled
got
out a
another
part 2
folder.
on that project at the meeting myself.
Hang on, I got another folder for the subdivision.
Must Rich was so Rich
I
in the
think.
April meeting? Did I have COVID?
Yeah, I don't have
COVID
that.
on those meetings. Hold on. Let's see. You get your April minutes, Rose?
I don't print out the minutes.
Well, either way, we can reaffirm seeker for the special use permit.
Let's do it.
Part of that motion would be
Let's do it. It'll save us
reaffirmation of the original seeker. You okay with that?
Say that again.
That seeker's gonna end up in that big resolution I'm working on, because we're just gonna reaffirm the original, subdivision seeker, negative declaration.
Yeah, so as long as I get a negative declaration with the minutes from the town, the DOT wants that as part of their approval.
Gotcha.
Here's the April meeting, it was- I
They're
think it's
strict
the
with that.
subdivision.
Dollar General. Retail property board stated to be no action until B&L. Parking spots work, planning board concern, canopies and awnings, trees to be added, board look. Oh, I see, you got it down as Dollar General 2-lot subdivision business zone. Okay, I'm with you now. That's what you're saying. I mean, yeah, the way this reads, that was only covering the subdivision. Yeah, we could have done it for both. So what we'll do, Frank, is we will adopt the same negative declaration for the project that we did for the subdivision. Are you guys comfortable with that? The same answers to the same questions?
Yes.
I'll make sure that gets into your.
Won't change.
resolution,
Thank you
okay?
very much.
And Rose will have that in the minutes, that the board reaffirmed the seeker for the subdivision as applicable to the
Okay.
special use permit. If you need to talk to me tomorrow, we'll go through that, we can do that.
So when we get, where I'm reading this, John, is we sign off on the final resolution, which would be the next couple of weeks, right?
Okay.
You're gonna get a copy of that, and everything you need should be melded into that resolution.
Correct. Well, yeah, non-general special use permit. And I'm gonna fill out a separate short EAF for the special use permit, so you can get that too, as the DOT will.
Okay.
Okay? Okay, we're voting on just kicking the can down the road here a little bit, but you're giving approval for me to sign off once we have the acceptance resolution. Okay? If we make, did somebody move?
Well, we voted on the subdivision, now we're voting.
Yeah, but, okay, now
So
I'm
that
talking
was John
about
and
the
Paul on a subdivision.
Now I'm talking about the storm.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Something made second. Any discussion concerning that?
No.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
you're good to run.
So
Right.
once your documents get put together, they'll send them to us and go from there. Okay. So we don't have to be at any more meetings?
Well, you can
You won't be able to start any construction until the conditions.
Yes.
The conditions that have to be met will be met. That includes the filing and recording the stormwater maintenance agreement.
Yep.
You're gonna have to go through code guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get your building permit.
This is for the special use.
All right, thank you very much.
Rose will need that one.
You're welcome.
Copy and send.
Thank you.
Pleasure to do business with you.
You as well.
Welcome to the Chickenango community. Again. I'm sorry.
You guys want these?
Somebody was kind of happy.
Look at me, I don't want
Does anybody want these?
them. Phil, you want those? Over your
No?
own.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Sorry, you're gonna take it with you.
I'm not gonna take it back.
Okay. Let's move on here. How about,
Going on and on.
Forrest, who's doing July? Are you, right here. Let's do July. Come on, somewhere. Hey, what have I got? Talk to us.
That's the property of Lucas Gold,
Okay.
Andrews, and it's on the 13 acres, I'm dividing it, subdividing it, they had it surveyed.
Okay. Two lots, right?
Yeah.
right here, I can look at it, you guys down here need to.
Right in the middle.
Okay? Yeah. Okay? Lucas Road. What do we have for utilities?
Well, there's water at the first one,
Get the date.
lot closer to 31.
Mm-hmm.
Second one, I called Aqua, and they want $40,000 for the 500 feet. And I told them it was ridiculous. So, and that's what he said the price is. So he's either that or a well.
What's the town's position here?
And it's only less than that, because he said, no, you gotta go through the middle of the house. I said,
Middle of the lot?
yeah, but I was going all the way to the very end. He said, in case other homes go in there, said, you know, you gotta have it from the middle of the house down to the other homes if they were gonna be placed in there. But I would own all the way down to the next neighbor. And they're saying 500 feet is $40,000.
What's the town position?
As far as what?
Okay, you got that in front of you. If you,
Water's at the first lot,
right,
but he said continue down a little farther.
The water's here?
There's water, there's 31.
Water main
Right,
right to the location,
right
it's
there.
that blue line.
It ends right there. And he said to bring it to here, it's $40,000.
Who said that?
Aqua.
Yeah. We're at their mercy with this stuff.
So the question I think Frank has, does the town, I don't know if you do have a rule that if you wanna build a house, you have to connect to the public water line or not, I don't know. that you
Yeah, but
have
it's
that.
kind of hazy there because if you're in the water district, but if you're within so many feet, if you're outside of
Right.
so many feet, you
Yeah.
don't have to do
Is
it.
this one in the district?
Is this in the district? I have no idea, to be honest with you. It's very,
He's got cleared this already for a home.
it's,
the first lot, you wouldn't have water there if it was
Yeah.
in the district.
Yeah,
That-
he said
that
that'd
would
be
be
no
true.
problem, but getting.
But the second one, no, and then the question is, can you go onto a well? What, okay, right across the road, what's the Buford property do?
What's that do?
What do they have? They got a well?
No, they're just on the water. I get down all along the shoreline, and they're all on city water.
I think he means here.
Oh, that's Tony Wolford, that's just the woods.
Oh, right, there's nothing.
No, there's nothing there, it's just woods.
Is that the Tony Buford,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's one issue, and I got plans for sewers going in, proposing a couple years, and.
Well, they're not gonna, if sewers are going in, they can't do that without water.
Right, they'll bring the water.
And
I
they
wouldn't hang around with it.
shows on this map, it's only partway down the road. So I don't understand.
It's all about density.
Well, the thing with it, if sewers come in though, it would be part of a larger project and the district would be formed and that would be paid off over a 30+ year period.
Just my opinion. but this-
Nobody's gonna
that'd
ask
take
you
years.
for 40 grand for that.
No, really?
Right, John,
I
you work
guess
with these
with the
water
neighbors,
districts
give
and sewer districts, this could take years.
Yeah, and again, I think Frank was asking, what are you doing for water on lot number 2? And you're saying you'd have to drop a well because you don't have access, you can't pay for a $40,000 aqua extension. And I don't think we have a law in the books that requires them to connect.
I know with sewer,
They can, they
if you're within so many feet of the sewer district,
You
you
have
are,
to connect.
but most of the time,
but they don't have a sewer down there, right?
No.
To connect.
But if they get sewers, they're gonna have to have water. If it goes that far, I mean, if the sewer district doesn't
Right.
extend that far, then they
They
don't
won't
work.
happen tomorrow.
Well, they might extend
No,
the
but I
water.
mean, what I'm saying is, you know, it looks to me like you gotta build that lot one's a buildable lot, easily with public water and on-site septic.
Mm.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. But, the other one would be, where you'd have to drill a well and still have on-site septic, for somebody to build on it now.
Right.
Right.
That's the one I got cleared. I didn't realize I had to go.
Number
through.
2, you got,
Yeah,
oh, you got the
I
2.
took 2 years here to clear that by myself, by hand. And
Look how healthy you are.
not anymore.
But there again, I think we just can't run counter to whatever the town policy is.
Or with water, we're at Aqua's mercy.
Okay. But there again, if there's no obligation, then that's what it would be, right? Ken?
Yeah, I don't
He's
think
gonna
that's.
have one, he's gonna have to have a well and septic.
Right, it doesn't
And,
prohibit.
the other one, he'll have public water and stuff.
Right,
Right.
and if he's in the district, he's in the district. I don't know if he's in a district right now or not, if any of his properties.
But even if you are in the district, if you're so many feet away from that, where the nearest line is.
Yeah.
There's an exemption in that.
We can look at that.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there was some, if you're close enough, you gotta hook up. But this, you may not be, I don't know what that is.
He's not in the district.
Pardon?
He's not in the district, but they haven't extended the district.
Oh, okay, we don't know, we don't know, we don't know where the district is. That's part of the
If
problem.
I see a water
Alright.
line, that usually means there's a district.
So as long as we don't have any prohibition against, of doing the, the old conventional, but sewer comes through, then somebody's gotta hook up, that's another issue. That's somebody else's problem.
I wouldn't
All right.
have my plans waiting for that.
Is that what?
Why, yeah, we
Because
can,
they had dates in here too, when they're gonna start the
Oh,
project.
that's the Bridgeport extension right there,
Yeah.
the sewer extension?
Right there.
Yeah, that's a couple of years out. I mean,
Yeah, it's a
they're
couple
working on
years.
it now, so
Right.
that won't physically be there for a few years. If it gets
Oh.
approved, you're talking 2-3 years out.
well, but I mean, it affects your saleability of your lot or wherever you wanna do, all of that. So I think, but it doesn't, right now, what we just wanna make sure is we can subdivide this for
Yeah, 'cause I-
residential purposes,
Yeah, but see, I
without commanding you gotta hook up to something.
I don't need all that land, that's why I'm subdividing it, and I'm gonna keep the second lot for a home here in the near future. But like I said, I
So
can wait.
is there a structure here somewhere
No, it's just clear, I just cleared it.
on both of these, both
No,
lots?
the first lot is still woods.
Oh, but there's no residence here,
No,
none, either one.
not yet.
All right, what we'll do is, let's schedule a public hearing for next month, folks. And then we'll do a little homework in between.
Okay.
And we'll see if there's anything here that we have to deal with. Otherwise, we'll have to go that route.
Yeah.
Okay?
We gotta do seeker, to hold the.
Let's
public
do that
hearing.
right now.
So you'd be the lead agency for unlisted action, where our determinations are as follows: that will not create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan and zoning regulation. Will not result in a change in the use or intensity of the state land, will not impair the character or quality of this community. The action will not result in an adverse change to the existing level of traffic or infrastructure of mass transit, like walkways. The proposed action will not cause an increase in the use of energy and fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities. They will not impact public or private water supplies or public or private wastewater facilities. Action will not impair the character, quality, and important historic, archaeological, architectural, aesthetic resource. It will not cause an adverse change to natural resources. It will not result in an increase in potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage, or have an impact on environmental resources for human health. We check the box for no or small impact for each of these. Now we can have a motion for a negative declaration.
And then, want to meld that into the hearing?
6:45.
Yes.
July 5th.
Okay, folks,
Anybody?
gotta have somebody.
I'll
John, sorry.
John, Sherry.
Okay, we got John and Sherry. Okay, so what we're doing is gonna have a public hearing, because that's part of the subdivision law. 6:45 on
July 5th.
July 5th.
July 5th?
So don't celebrate too much on the 4th.
Okay. All right.
All right? It's
6:45?
6:45 right here.
Okay,
Okay, so we'll do that.
very good, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Moharder.
maps already, is that correct?
Yes, I have something. This gotta go. Something I just missed. This has gotta go in black. And then I had something here that was.
5/9, is that the date of the maps?
Yes.
Okay.
No, correct.
Because I've seen the sorry drawings.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, now first, Mo Porter,
Mo Porter, that's correct.
not Mo Hart.
Please spell it for me.
Mohorter.
You see it here with an A. I think there's a family. There was Mo Harter up here.
M-O-H-O-T-A-R.
No, Mohorter.
Okay, tell us what we're about here.
So this is 22 acres of property that I own. I live on one of the acres. It's proposed an annexation of 5 to add to my property. And then 2 lots. One lot would be the lot number 2, which is listed here. I can share with you. Lot 2, and then the remaining acres is 14 I currently reside here, and we're annexing these 5 acres to add to our property.
So 6.213 upon completion.
Correct.
To your homestead parcel.
That is correct.
That's the main thing that's happening here.
Yeah.
It's gonna remain almost 15 acres remaining.
And how big's the other lot?
Remaining will be 14.944 at
He's gonna have, when combined with his residence, he will have a total of 6.2. Is that correct? 6.2 acres. So he's splitting.
He's creating this new lot 1 and a new lot 2 here as well?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Right.
I'm sorry. Good.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we're ending up with really like a 3-lot subdivision, of which one that he is unnumbered is really being merged with his residence.
Correct.
Okay, so, why?
He called it his annexation.
Yeah, I know, but, what he's saying, and what, I don't know whether you dealt with Rick or Mike or somebody there.
It was Rick.
Okay, that, you're going to rewrite your deed for your residence.
Right.
So that that parcel is gonna either come parcel 2 of your residence, or you're gonna have it all with the same meets and bounds. I mean, there's a couple of different legal ways of doing that, I guess.
Okay.
That's up to your attorney.
You just had a survey.
But
Yes.
for our purpose, I'm just wondering why you did that. I don't see a problem, but it's just other than, it seems to me it would have been easier for you. What if you wanted to, you have no intention of ever selling off that 5 acres?
Well, I have children, and that's a question I have for you. Could that be further subdivided in the
Sure.
future? Okay, so that was our purpose of annexing, if you will, acreage. My kids are not at an age to make a decision if they would like property.
The only advantage you have of annexing it is that you're gonna save 50 cents on tax. Okay, not a lot, you're gonna save something. But in order to do that, you're gonna have to come back. You're gonna have to come back and separate, if you ever want to, you gotta come back and separate out your house. And then whatever, even if you just separate it as it stands, you gotta come back and go through the process again.
Right, it's future, not
That's right.
possible.
That's right.
Yep, I understand that.
That's why I'm saying that the bullet kept it as a separate parcel, now you've always got the flexibility to not ever mess with your house.
Right.
But you own it, so nobody can do anything with it.
Yeah, it's just one of those unknowns, that's where we're at
Okay,
personally.
all right, well, you
But I
got,
appreciate that.
you got the idea,
Appreciate that.
you know, whatever.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah, I appreciate it.
So is this 2 lots or 3 lots?
I'd say it's a 3-lot
Okay,
subdivision.
what's the rest? We've got
It's a subdivision and an annexation.
6.2 acres, 14.9 acres,
Yeah.
what's left?
1.4.
He's actually creating 3 lots, one of which he's going to meld into his own.
Right.
Now, I tell you, that is private tree, that has nothing to do with us.
No, you would cap, because we need to, when he goes to sell it, he needs a good record of it, and this resolution will cover that, and the subdivision map will explain it all.
Well, he
I
can,
think that should be part of it.
alright,
I
okay,
can,
alright, he's lawyer.
So
Okay.
the 3 lots you're talking about his original lot, and then the 2 other.
Well, he had his lot of 1.1 acres, then he had one of, ballpark, about 15, 1.5, and 5. And they were all one lot, right? 20-some acres, right? Or whatever it was.
So
Is that right?
this is original.
15.
Right, this is
Yeah.
all, this and this and then, these were from a former subdivision in 2016.
Okay. All right, we're good. Any questions about this now? Procedure, that's something else we can, we'll schedule for our hearing at 6:30. We gotta have a secret.
Okay, so, you're the lead agency, unlisted action, same questions, same answers, yes?
Yeah.
Then I won't go through each question individually.
Thank you.
So, negative declaration resolution and public hearing at 6:30.
6:30, right. Got it?
Who did?
Second, got a second.
After you need it.
Jerry,
Paul and Sherry.
any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good to go. We'll see you at 6:30 on the 5th of July.
Excellent. Thank you for your time.
Sure enough.
You have a map, Jack? John?
I got one,
Okay,
thank you.
Wherever you are.
yeah, hey, you.
Doesn't matter what.
Whoever you are.
Oh, you start your call for dinner.
This is calling anything but late for dinner, that's all.
Okay, all right. Who do we decide is representing CODA here? Here we go. Mr. Moore?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good afternoon, board. I'm Jeffrey Moore. I'm here representing Coda Ventures LLC on behalf of their subdivision. I believe you all have copies of the map that were dropped off several weeks ago. And the revelation as of yesterday morning was the buyer for one of the lots backed out, and they decided to subdivide further one of those lots, which was originally intended to be a larger lot. And the gentleman was gonna buy both properties, so we combined them. So I think right now it's currently a 6-lot subdivision, and I do have 4 new maps that ran through before I came here, just showing the split. Again, they're conforming in all aspects of the regulations. And more than that. The maps they have are 99% good. Lot 6 got split to lot 6-7. I do have 4. There's enough where they can share with it. Yep, so all the basically
All right.
is lots that got split.
So then this map, we don't need this map?
You don't need that. And again, I apologize, I actually called Frank this morning, or this afternoon, and just tried to let him know ahead of time.
That one you don't need, Tom.
Right, I just wanted,
It's the exact same map.
Same thing.
It's exact same.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is lot 7.
everything says 6 lots.
So what do we do with this?
What's that?
It's more than a six.
It'll be a separate one.
No, why don't you give me that, I'll.
And again, I called Frank just to apologize about that, because I know it gets messy there pretty quick.
And his apology
No,
wasn't,
that's the application.
What was that, Frank, I'm sorry?
and his apology was accepted.
Thank you, sir. All set. Ready? Lot 142. Lot 2, 10.3.
All right.
Lot 4, 10.3. Lot 5, 10.9. Lot 6, 5.8. Lot 7, 4.9. And lot 3, 57.
Hey, these,
Where's the rest of that?
It's just over.
Oh, okay.
It's a
Okay,
map.
there it is.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. Same thing with this one. Continues on. Puts it further.
And this part of it, that line that shows that connector.
Yeah.
That's broken.
Yeah, that's a broken line.
Meaning it bleeds in over here, show here.
No, it's down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the parts that there's 27. Yeah, if you can attack that, with a special attack.
Oh, there it is. Thank you.
See how it bleeds way out.
Yeah.
He's got a 7 lot subdivision, 6 or 7.
Okay, some of the land fronts, okay.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's subdivision. Application sketch plan. We just gotta update that for the 7 lots too.
And I'm more than happy to send any applications, seekers.
So one of the issues with, when we do one of these like this is gonna be, site distance and driveway cuts, right? So that, do we know what the speed limit is on Smith Ridge Road here?
I think it's 45.
I think it is 40. And then it's straight as an arrow.
Yeah,
You get something, it's a town road, Smith Ridge or
I
county?
think so.
So you gotta get probably, you want him to get a letter from the highway superintendent that he's cool with the 7 new driveway cuts?
Some of these already had existing farm access cuts in them, but I'm more than happy to reach out to them.
I would touch base with them.
Yep, not a problem.
Yeah, whatever you guys want. Same one, doesn't it?
Okay, let's talk, we've got water, right?
Correct.
Okay, you're gonna have septic.
Correct.
These perk,
Yes. The house currently perks, and then there's actually,
where's the house?
so your subdivision law currently states, that's why I made sure I stated that you're allowed to sell off 3 lots prior to coming to subdivision approval pre-1973 or 3 exactly. So therefore, lot 2's actually already been sold off. They sold lot 2 off this past winter without subdivision approval because they didn't need it. However, I looked at it, it's still part of the subdivision because it's so many lots in so many years. So there's an existing house in lot 2, but that's already been sold off.
Well, you're not gonna get into major subdivision because you're greater than 5 acres.
Correct.
So really, that's
Yeah,
kind of,
I didn't want to come up here unprepared. And
right, but I'm
come
just
back.
saying, that's kind of a moot point at this point. But we might as well, you're gonna file the map, it's probably best to have them all subdivided,
Exactly.
have that done. Do we have you perked anything there?
I have not, but if the board needs a perk, we can run perk on each lot.
I would do that,
Not a problem.
because in fairness, that there could be issues down there. And they're gonna sell these, people ought to be able to see, hey, this is what you're buying.
And again, they would be buying them contingent on that as well. So,
Yeah, I would have to, I think we need to see that. Anything else here, folks? If they don't perk, then they don't perk, then you gotta have a note, just have a note on it, that they have to go to county. Town doesn't deal with that.
You don't wanna
If
see
they're
that.
on high.
You don't wanna see the driveway cuts out.
Oh, yeah, we wanna see where that's gonna be in right relations. Take a drive down there, take a look, and see what things look like. All right, let's, move it along, we can have public hearing, we got another seeker here.
All right, once again.
Okay, and now, you're the third one, and custom has it that you get pizza, so, for the hearing, okay?
The fourth one gets cigarette.
We don't go any further than that, all right. Forrest is hanging out there, maybe he wants to do it, I don't know.
He's gotta bring the beer.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Oh, we
so
don't do that, we don't cross over there.
any changes to our decisions? That
No, we're
we
good.
made of
We're
it
good,
impact
yeah.
for a project like this? So we're gonna say negative declaration based on small impact or no impact on the questions on the short EAF.
Got plenty of room, the wetlands aren't gonna come into play here.
Might be a high water table part of it, or.
Yeah, that's right, that's why it's pertinent.
Yeah.
So NASDAQ and public hearing. We need a motion.
Deep holes too, right? Deep holes too, yeah.
6:15, John.
At 6:15. PM. Got it.
Just need a motion. I need a motion, right?
Okay, have a motion here, 6:45. 6:15, I go wrong. 6:15, and a negative deck.
I'll make a motion.
And a negative deck.
John made a motion.
Second.
Paul.
Jeff, what are we calling this? Who?
Smith Ridge Estates.
Huh?
Smith Ridge Estates.
Smith Ridge Estates?
I believe it is.
Want this one too, or not?
Yeah. Now I go through some point.
It's kind of a good job.
Phil, is there anything else on this down there? You got a little experience?
No, I just don't think it's a county
I
road.
don't think.
Part, is it county? Is Smith Ridge?
I don't think
I don't
it
think there's
is.
a
No, I
sign.
think Smith's down.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a sign.
So
I
as far
think
as-
it is.
As far as road cuts for driveways, you probably ought to contact Andy.
He's
Yeah, I'll take care of that.
He's going to. You know, yeah, we'd like, you know, if there's any way, you know, the old common driveway doesn't work. But if you know, if you can somehow meld it, you know, that road. Okay, all right, okay. See you then. Last but not least, okay? Drum rolls, we're ready to go. Yeah, go ahead, I don't know, Phil, that's up to you. Can they tap into that? If you get the Yankee game on, we watch that.
That's what I'm looking for.
John will love to hear the results of the Yankees, right,
Doesn't
John?
matter anymore, Paul. They are.
That's right, Boston's out of it, right?
Red Sox are done.
What are they, about 30 games back already?
About that, yeah.
No, they're not quite at 12. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, I gotta do paperwork.
You better off with the driveway.
Yeah, that was
This
very
is-
streamlined. Off to a good start here.
You all see it
This is
already?
Dollar General, that's, I think this is going down. That's the big one, that's good. So does that.
In case you're interested, John, it's 3-1 top of the second. And Minnesota's not winning.
Go ahead, we don't, accept it.
Bad time to say I'm from Boston.
Okay. We won't hold that against you.
That's all right.
So, thank you all for taking the time to hear us tonight. I am Liza Sheps, a business development manager at Nexamp. I'm joined tonight by Travis Mitchell of EDP, our civil engineering partner. Before we get to the project specifics, I think it's beneficial to quickly introduce Nexamp, who we are and what we do. Nexamp was founded in 2007 by 2 Army veterans based out of Boston, Massachusetts. Started off as a small renewable energy company and has grown to have a nationwide presence with solar projects in 13 states. In New York State, we became very active about 7 years ago and have remained so. We have over 300 megawatts within the state of New York, either currently operating or in the late stages of development and construction, forecasted to be operating by the close of 2022. Nexamp is unique in that we design, build, own, and operate our solar projects for the lifetime of the facility, having our own construction management group, operations and maintenance group, and asset management group. This project is proposed to be a community solar project, so I want to quickly just explain what that means. This is Nexam's bread and butter. So how this works is through the solar array, Nexam feeds clean green energy into the existing electrical grid and gets green credits from New York State for doing so. Nexam is able to pass those green credits along to the residents. Residents maintain their existing electrical provider. Everything remains the same there. They also subscribe to a local project and can use the Nexam green credits to apply to their utility bill and save 10% on their annual electricity bills. So this is becoming more and more popular in New York State. This is something Nexam is very well versed in. We have over 10,000 subscribers in New York State now. So now to this project. This project is on Lakeport Road, and I'm going to hand this off to Travis, but it's a 3.1 megawatt AC fixed tilt system. So what that means is a lot of the solar panels you see on the side of highways and everything, they run east-west with a stationary panel facing south. These run north-south, and the panel is on an axis which tilts throughout the day to track the sun. Pass it off to...
Sure. Yep. So just a little bit more, just general on this site. As Liza mentioned, it's a tracker system. So the rows run north-south. They rotate during the day to follow the sun. No battery storage proposed. The fenced-in area of this 3.1 megawatt AC site is about 16 acres. No long-term impacts as far as minimal disturbance. Familiar with the town's decommissioning requirements.
We just changed it.
I know, I'm getting there.
You saw that? Okay, I'm glad you're saying you saw the latest that got adopted a couple months ago. Right?
December, correct?
Yep. Well, yeah, you got in December.
That's part of the reason why
we
have some
says,
questions.
I thought it was 2022.
It could have been adopted.
Yeah.
But
No, it was, well, you might have adopted it, you had it pretty well in the can by the end of
Yeah,
21.
as long as you know what the requirements are.
And it's really why we're here tonight, is to introduce this and to talk to you about the requirements and make sure we understand things. Yep. Good, thank you. Yep. Yeah, and I think specific to the decommissioning is the security that's required. It was one of the changes, I believe.
Yeah, they moved to all cash.
All cash, right. Okay, understood. Yep. Okay, so the project specifically, I'm sure you're familiar with the location at this point, but just a little bit north of us here on Lakeport Road. The outline of the property, it's about a 270 acre property shown there in green. And on your zoning map, here's just a close up on that zoning map, the overall property, it's all within the ag district. We actually started working on this at some point last year. Go ahead, sure, by all means.
Okay, just clarify, ag zone, ag district?
Ag zone and ag district, actually.
Number 3 I saw somewhere there.
That's correct.
Right?
It's in your ag zone and in the county's ag district.
Okay, I was surprised, yeah, okay.
Yep, feel free to interrupt.
Can't grow huckleberries down there, that's all right.
That's okay. So we started working on this last year, in working with the town's 2017, I believe, regulations that were adopted. We had some delays with National Grid, so the way these projects work. Have you had solar projects before the town before? I assume you have.
We have, but we have none that ever come to fruition.
Okay, well.
That just gives you an idea.
So before we even get to this stage, we have some feeling from Grid on the acceptability of the interconnection and what they're willing to accept. And so working through that process, we've just recently as last month, understand what size project they'll take here. So during that process, the town adopted some new regulations, and I believe we can comply with those regulations in all aspects, with the exception of the caveat on wetlands separation distance. So it's one of the things we wanted to talk to you tonight about, because we did see in the meeting minutes from when the town adopted those regulations in December, some discussion of a project that may have been closer than 1,000 feet, and it wasn't clear what the discussion was, or, you know, how it applied, you know, if there were variances that could be sought, or if the board had the ability to waive it. So that's part of the reason that we're here tonight. Just a close-up of that property, again, surrounded the 270 acres in green, the 16-acre solar site here. This is Smith Ridge Road. I know you were just speaking of the subdivision. I'm not sure where it is on there, but that's Smith Ridge, North Lakeport to the north. You've got a full set of what we call preliminary plans in front of you. This is one of those overall sheets. At this point, it's easier to look at this style map on Google Earth to talk to you about it, but we can of course answer any questions that are contained within those documents. So we come in off Lakeport Road, roughly at this location here. It comes in as a 20-foot wide gravel access road, and then after we get past the utility connection, the interconnection with poles here, it narrows down to a 15-foot wide access road that comes into about this location. Then it becomes even narrower to a 12-foot road. Again, the perimeter fenced area is here. It's about 16 acres. Your code suggests an 8.5-foot high fence. I think it leaves the determination of that up to the planning board. We could do 8.5. We most often see a 7 or an 8, but we can talk about that once we get into the project. We are quite a ways off of Lakeport Road, over 500 feet off Lakeport, 400 feet, over 400 to the side yard, and over 300 to the rear yard. It's really a pretty decent site for solar as far as the setbacks and the location. You can see it shows up better on your maps. I didn't want to have it overtake my slide here, but you can see this outline here in the white and then the shaded area are what we've delineated as Army Corps wetlands. And so the Army Corps on these projects does not consider, and if you're familiar with this, I can shut up, but they don't consider the panels in the fence to be disturbance, only the access roads and the pads for the transformers. So this would be permitted under a general nationwide permit by the Army Corps, except for the fact that your new regulations suggest 1,000-foot separation to wetlands, which is pretty. It's the most I've ever seen, quite frankly. So
you need a variance from that. That's how that would be interpreted.
Yeah.
To go to the zoning board to receive a variance on it.
So it would be a ZBA.
Yeah, this board doesn't have the power to waive that.
I didn't see it anywhere, unlike the fence where it gave the board power.
Yeah.
And so there was some, and excuse me, we're a little bit off topic, but you were with the town board during those discussions, I assume. There was some discussion of and I believe it was a variance for another project. I don't think
that was to get out from, if I'm remembering correctly, that variance might have been to get out from a moratorium that was in place. Okay. I think. Don't quote me because I'm working on about 27 projects right now. They're all solar. It was a moratorium, yeah. Okay.
And excuse me for not knowing, but does an action to the ZBA require a referral from this board or a denial?
It may. The zoning board may request the opinion of the planning board, but usually the zoning board asks the planning board to comment on it. Sometimes, Frank, you'll just issue they'll get a copy of the agenda, and Frank will talk to the board.
But I think your question is, how do you get to the ZBA?
Yeah, how do we get there?
Technically, that's got to come from the zoning.
Yeah, so there's another
zoning officer.
Yeah, sure, that makes sense. So we'll obviously, pending our larger discussion tonight, we'll proceed with that.
To the north of where those proposed panels are going to be is the trailer park or the manufactured housing neighborhood.
Yes.
The trees would block the view.
Yes, and what we can do, I say yes, it appears so, but what we would typically do, and we haven't done it yet because we wanted to have this discussion with you, is we can do a visual simulation from here to show you, what those trees look like and what it would look like if you
all of that's in the law there.
Yes.
Right, there's a few items within the local solar law that we're fully prepared to submit, but we wanted a little bit more insight of what the town's preference is, for instance.
Well, let's look for, I think you're on the right track, let's look for any stumbling blocks right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not go do other things when something here maybe, No, I think, you're on that.
And if I'm correct, that.
Do we have, just one more question, just follow up on it. I can't say that I've really dissected everything, but did I see any state wetlands, DEC wetlands?
No EEC wetlands in this proximity. There are some, I believe they're to the east. I can show them on an overall map, but nothing that's
on the other side of the road.
Nothing that's contiguous to this.
Oh, to the east. No, the east would be.
I believe over in this area, perhaps. I can show you.
Yeah. I mean, you're that end of town. That's an issue, but what's good for solar panels isn't good for other things.
Sure.
You know,
and that's kind of the point here. Is this is wet land, so
yeah,
and it's in Army Corps doesn't permit the panels here, so it's really too wet to
these kind of what we're familiar with are just the pillars that are sitting in the ground and with the panels mounted on them. There really is not a lot of infrastructure beneath, right?
Yeah. They're either on driven piles or on screws typically, and so the disturbance is minimal as they go in. You know, the most disturbance is just the traffic, the foot traffic and the delivering of panels during construction, and then after that, I mean, they're cleaned a couple times a year. The grass is mowed, and that's it. So there's minimal disturbance after construction, which is why I think the Army Corps treats them so favorably.
I got you. Okay.
There, when you showed the outline of the site, there was a portion of Route 3, Lakeport Road. That's the non-residential property that's there, correct? Right along that little, right. That's non-residential property. The guy's got like a barn there and some.
I don't know the answer to that. Do you, Leslie?
The barn is actually a little bit closer to the access road. It's right about here. I was there today. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
So the access.
I mean, there's no other houses on that side of the road until you get farther north.
Yeah, there is. On the other side.
Yeah, so that barn is.
That's one of your plates.
No.
Yeah. Okay. And I think what you're saying that tract of land to the east is if that guy had bought that property, you want to put the parking back in there.
Could be back in there, yeah.
Because that goes back about 200 acres or something from 31, and that's right in that.
Yeah, well, now you get a better shot of it.
Yeah.
You get it because you're seeing the bend of 31
right
up on top.
Yeah. And what's that? Clark Road over to the top there.
That's probably the first one. The first one to the north.
So that's primarily all vacant land in there anyway.
Well, there's development. The Clark Road is pretty well done.
Yeah, but I mean, other than that,
right? No.
The power lines cut through there and stuff.
Yes. Okay.
So one of the other discussion points I think that we should probably have with this board is relative to screening. One of the suggestions in the code is, and I think it's optional, I don't think it's required, but is a berm, which with wetlands here, that's something that we would not be able to do. We could do all kinds of screening, but we couldn't do a berm, that would be permanent disturbance.
That makes sense.
And we can, the Army Corps.
Give us what are your options there?
So
living.
Oh yeah. Yep. So we would do, and the Army Corps will permit it as long as it's compatible plantings in the wetlands. It'll be temporary disturbance as they go in, but we typically would do a mix of deciduous and evergreen, so you've got some screening all year long. But what we generally don't like to do is just a row of arborvitaes or something that looks as out of place as the solar farm does. Something that mimics a hedgerow or something that looks a little bit more natural than just a straight line row of evergreens or arborvitaes.
That's an interesting offer.
We sometimes will work with the local soil and water district to get their recommendations on plantings, and I know they're experts here, so something.
They're good people here. Madison County. Now, are you, just to help the board here a little bit, are you involved in any projects that are immediately to our east or to our west?
Good question.
Yes, we do have some projects in the area, right in Lennox. We have 2 fully constructed
You are
projects.
that, okay.
Those are those 4 megawatt, 5 megawatt?
2 co-located, different lots. 5 megawatt AC
BB
projects.
Bridge, probably BB Bridge Road maybe is one,
Yes.
and then down off Roberts
yeah.
or right in there, okay.
Yeah, Allen Road.
Okay, but not the one to the west, there's one right on our county line right here, just off the county line. And on the dog.
I do not believe so.
Okay,
Now,
all right.
there's 5 new, generally speaking, there's 5 projects in Lennox, 2 of which are these guys.
Okay.
Elville 1 and 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alville Creek, yes.
So Roberts Road, BB Bridge,
I'm not familiar with the Roberts Road one, but
That's a different company.
that would be like due south of Wampsville,
yeah, I'm not familiar
due
with
north of Wampsville, excuse me, wrong way, okay. There's another one there, but then there's one in between, that's kind of totally out of sight there somewhere. That's on, I think that's also off Roberts.
Yeah, I don't believe that. That's
Okay, all right, just give us an idea, we, you know.
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
So, if you've had some other applications, you know, that, you know, we treat stormwater for these in accordance with DEC guidance. It's the roadway and the transformer pad, you know, those impervious areas are treated. The panels are not, as long as they're separated with enough green space between, which these are. And they would file an NOI with a DEC NOI. I assume your town engineer would review the application. Be a seeker, type 1 action. We submitted a draft form. So, you know, tonight we had hoped to get some feedback from the board, make sure that this wasn't a non-starter as far as the board was concerned, and then understand the next steps. Any concerns, anything that we should, you know, when we come back to this board, assuming we're successful with the ZBA, anything that we should have in mind as far as that goes.
So for our engineer to review it, they will need to know that it's being retained by the planning board, and they'll estimate what they think the review fee will be, which you will post.
Your contact would be Taylor Bottar, Bottar. I know you're familiar. Are you familiar with him?
Familiar with being I don't know.
Okay, well he's our contact.
So they've got we got 2 people I've worked with on solar projects. One guy is Steve Lefevre, and the other person is a lady over there that I did one out in Sangerfield. Her name's escaping me, has an M in it. I'll think of it. So those are one of the 2 people you'd be dealing with. Rebecca Venus.
And at what stage is it appropriate to push to them? I mean, do we go to the ZBA first, or with the ZBA you think like some feedback? What would your opinion be? Or is it up to us?
Got it.
Well, we're just hearing about this for the first time, so I guess I want to absorb what I'm hearing, and then help steer you in the right direction. I mean, obviously, the whole thing's contingent upon getting some relief from the zoning board, and the typical area variance criteria would apply to this, which means you have to demonstrate that you know, you've got a hardship that needs some relief, and there's a 5-point legal criteria that you go through to demonstrate your entitlement to a variance, and they only have to grant you the necessary variance that you need for the project. Of course, you have to say that your project needs to be this versus something smaller, or pushed away. What other options are there for you on that piece of land to move it around to need less of a variance? There's all kinds of moving parts there. So you might want to go to I would say you probably want to head to the zoning board.
I agree, as I'm thinking about, there's no sense in having being able to review something that's going to shift. It's a waste of their time.
Now, one of the things that might pull P&L in, though, is there is a part of that area variance criteria is that by granting the relief, would there be a negative influence? For example, you got to go through secret with the ZBA too, but there's a part of the specific criteria that says there won't be an impact to the environment of the area itself. So let the ZBA tell you to interact with B&L.
And so that's an interesting discussion. So on some of these, when we needed variances, not the wetlands, this would be the first one, but we've kind of gone concurrently with planning board and zoning
Yeah,
board.
you can do a thing where you make a lead agency, yeah. 'cause
Planning board remains
they're
lead
gonna be
agency,
involved,
because
yeah.
they need to be.
So these planning board will be the lead agency.
Okay.
ZBA will be an involved
Okay.
agency. We can do a coordinated review between the ZBA and the planning board. And then your long EAF probably has a list of all the other agencies.
It does, although I don't think it lists the ZBA, but everybody else is. in it.
Yeah, okay, so, I mean, you got the typical group in there. The other big question, Frank, for this is the use of, will the equipment, heavier trucks be going over any town roads versus just county roads?
We can, Lakeport County, and so we can, I believe we can make it be settled that it's county only. I see.
The town would prefer to stay off town roads with the equipment. In Lennox, we did have an issue with, I don't think it was a project or not, that the margins of the roads got crushed coming into the site, and that town did not require a posting of a bond for road damage. So we've been chasing the company.
So we're seeing that more and more when the town requires a bond for this.
Yeah, we gotta have that, so. Well, take a look and just make sure your travel route won't, or if it doesn't go to town,
Where's your
don't go to
supply chain from?
Good question.
That's kind of up in the air now, right? A lot of that's an issue.
Yeah.
Countrywide, industry-wide. Okay, but I'm just saying,
worldwide.
road-wise, you know, you've got non-town access to the throughway
Right. Yeah.
to get, you know,
That's probably gonna be
arterials
the
out
easier
of
way to do it rather
Pardon?
than, it'll probably be the easier way to do it rather than working the bond of the town. The town access.
Yeah, I mean, there's, without putting you out of your way, you definitely could find that kind of route.
There's
I don't really see any need for you to even go close to a town road, really.
Makes sense.
Well, if somebody gets lost, that's spot on.
State highways from the thruway in either Canastone or in 34A to the site, without having to go on
Yeah,
to
they-
the other
they
town.
could- yeah, well-
298 or 13 or something.
Well,
like that.
they can come out Filer. I mean, that's county road.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't know whether we have purview in there, but that's county road. The Chestnut's a county road. They can come any way they want.
Well, just as an aside, in Vermont, they use goats to maintain the grass inside the dam.
We do have a sheep grazing
Yeah,
program.
I mean, hey.
Do you really?
So we have our own operations and
Yeah.
maintenance department. There's a lot of different ways that we go about it.
Yeah.
The typical one being mowing 3 times a year type thing. But we also have a sheep grazing program where sheep
I
come
read
in.
that. I read that somewhere.
There's a next in facility actually nearby my house, and I went by there the other day and saw the sheep. It's a real thing.
I would think that would be somebody to do something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some local.
Okay.
Yeah, get Bosse's.
Is there any storage? Any battery?
No batteries.
No batteries. I thought the industry, they were getting so that you had to do something. I thought I heard, maybe the movement was in order to spread this out a little bit. No? Okay.
I don't know that, would you know what that?
I think it's almost reversed, especially in New York, battery storage not being a sole application, it being solar and storage. There's been some applications of storage in New York where the utility has actually brought Nexamp on for a few projects to help with their flicker issues with battery storage. But this project does not have any battery storage, and most projects within New York do not have battery storage.
You come armed with like a noise issue. I mean, that's always going to be raised. I mean, there's a comment.
I can speak to that. We've done various noise studies, not for this project, obviously, because we haven't figured out our site plan quite yet, but the loudest feature of the project is the inverter on the equipment pad, which he just pointed to. It emits a noise about 75 decibels, which is comparable to an alarm clock, a vacuum cleaner, or loud talking. It's mitigated over 200 feet, and these items, these inverters are off at night.
What we can show you, the.
You could add some extra buffering, couldn't you?
Yes.
Extra buffering around it would kind of dilute that a little bit too.
Right.
And so we're
If that
1,000 feet away, so we can show you the attenuation, the distance, it'll be down to less than a whisper.
Okay, how many, is this right now, I saw something where there's multiple properties, lands owned by people there. Is this solely one owner?
This
The footprint of this?
This whole 272 acres is owned by
Okay,
one.
all right.
I think we provided a adjoining property owner map.
Yes, I saw it,
Referred
yeah.
to, but,
Okay.
So the town opted out of 47.
Yes.
So, I know this talks about a pilot agreement, so.
Right.
There's no.
Additional pilot agreement, we've been going through the assessment, route with the town. The county and the school district are still opted in.
Yeah.
But we just got the interconnection, re-study back, finalized with the 3.1 megawatt size, in May, so we're working through that notice process now.
And I think I saw that the new assessment, provisions from the state of New York was suspended by court, so.
Yes.
This is a regular thing.
Yes.
Then we also have the Made in America requirement, have you enjoyed reading that?
Yes, I have, yes, and my department has, because I passed it along,
So the question is where, and there are places, and I'm told that there's places that do manufacture solar panels in this country.
So we have as part of our engineering procurement and construction group, we have a procurement group that focuses on this. There's been a lot of changes within the past few months with the supply chain, with COVID and everything like that, different tariffs on solar specifically, supply chain issues with solar specifically, so we've been working on our sources. That we do think that is something that we would be able to satisfy. We have to get it once we got to that stage in the process. But that's where I stumbled upon these town board meeting minutes when I was double checking our submission requirements. We weren't sure if this was draft form or adopted.
I just texted, well, it's because it takes a long time for it to get uploaded to the code.
Right.
So you're not gonna find it either in our hardcover book or on General Code's website yet, because the town adopts these, this is filed with the Secretary
Right,
of
because
State.
when I saw it, I called the code enforcement officer and was asking.
Yeah.
That he directed me to the town code, so I wasn't sure if this was.
Yeah, he probably didn't realize there's such a lag when we send these out. Even that opt-out, if you go to look on the NYSERDA website, I'm not sure if it's even up there today.
It is January 2020.
Because we sent it a long time ago, and it didn't show up for a long time. So this is the adopted law I think we have a filing receipt somewhere on it, so it is the law. But the thing I was gonna mention was, I have a few places of the towns we represent where we've approved projects and they can't build them because of the lack of panels. They can't source the panels anywhere, and it's a lag. So I didn't know if you guys, if some places you're lucky enough you've secured a source of panels and materials to build your projects, but I doubt that you would do that. It's speculative to try to do that.
Yeah, well, we don't do it until a certain point in our development process, but we do forecast far past that. But this is where it's helpful that Nexamp is the design, build, own, and operate for the lifetime of the facility.
You don't sell the
we don't
project
have
off
stake in the
immediately
game just in the beginning. We have stake in the game for the whole lifetime of the facility. Our neighbors through permitting are our neighbors for the lifetime of the facility. We want to make everyone happy, and we want to make agreements during permitting that we can uphold. So that is something that we would have to look into further, but there are some options right now within North America, and this is what they're currently figuring out, US versus Canada, and tracking that down further.
Just informational question now. What are you offering as an expected life?
I'm sorry, what was the?
Expected life of facility.
Standard is 25 years with additional 10 and 5 year extension past that, so total 40 years.
You get to a point, it's productivity, right?
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
get a decrease in productivity with these and with time.
And the state incentive program
Ah.
maps it out for a certain amount of project lifetime as well.
Okay.
And that would be covered also in our
We
decommissioning.
can't boast that technology down the road won't make us replacing these, change that model a little bit, you know. You'll build this facility, but it could be upgraded and
Right.
keep going for a while.
And that's where we have our asset management group,
Sure,
we're able
okay.
to remotely track.
I mean, I'm off track, but
No,
it's
that's
just
okay. It's
kind
good
of,
questions, yeah.
just kind of, you know, things change so rapidly.
Yeah.
And I was at, this was probably now 10, 12 years ago, and I was at a thing, I had some kids, I was a former teacher, had some kids on a science thing in Washington, and the CEO of Dow gave this little pep talk to these kids, and they were talking about the fact that, we've made huge breakthroughs in panels. And I don't know, I don't see that out in the real world yet, you know what I mean, huh? And
Yeah, you see, you know, they continue to get more efficient and put out, you know, higher wattage.
right,
at the same
absolutely.
For the same area, and the, single axis tracker versus the fixed tilt. There is a lot more capacity within the same acreage now than there were. But speaking, that's one thing, we were talking about school-age children, that's one thing that we do a lot with some communities, is we can, with the landowner and everything, do some educational programs, with the solar array in town. Sometimes the school district is in favor of that.
Interesting, if you've gone that way, because it's like, you know, you got an energy expense in the tilt. You got something mechanical that's operating that, you got something that's fixed, you know, I don't know, yeah, all right, okay, good. I think that, if we answered some of your questions, or at least, you got it, you know, moving right out front, we're feeling our way a little bit here, too.
Understood.
And,
No major opposition, go to the ZBA. and-
Yeah, right.
Is it
PowerPoint, is this PowerPoint in our pack?
It isn't, but I can send it to you.
There,
Would you mind
we
sending
did get,
it?
John, I've got a thumb drive. There's a thumb
Yeah,
drive with,
I-
not without the part, not part.
Yeah, I just wanted to get the PowerPoint, it's got a nice summary.
Yeah, no, I'll gladly send that along to you.
You know that I don't.
That's fine.
I'll write it down if you have a piece of paper.
So is it understanding that we're probably going to the ZBA? At what point does this board suggest that they'd like to be lead agency, or are we too early?
We just hear about it tonight.
Yeah, no, that's fine,
Maybe in the future.
but so it's okay.
John, you're saying we'll take a pass on that?
Well, no, I think you should be the lead agency. I think you're gonna do the yeoman's work on this thing. I think the ZBA, the ZBA is really only gonna be doing this variance. from
No, they need
this-
to, I think that you need to get by the ZBA. If for some
But they gotta
reason
get
you don't
secret
get by
on
the
it,
CBA, now you got some major.
I mean, we don't have to do a coordinated review. I think they want the seeker to be done by you guys, but that, you know, it's a catch-22, because you guys got the heavier issues about what the environmental impacts of a project might be. But the ZBA also has to do a seeker in order to grant a variance, so it's a little bit of cart and horse going
So
on.
sometimes what we see, if the two boards are in communication, is the ZBA get up to the point that they're ready to issue
That could happen.
the variance, and this
Yeah.
board knowing that they're ready to do so,
Right.
but then a back and forth between
That
meetings.
that
so
might be
that-
what we do,
Yeah.
because they won't figure out a variance on the first time you show up, because this will be one of the bigger items that they look at. Okay.
So we'll obviously make an application to the ZBA.
Correct.
Should we continue, to be on the agenda with
Do
this
you want to
board?
keep them on the agenda?
There's no problem
While
with
they
that.
work their way through the ZBA, and if you, well, this
And
one's
what,
really
you know,
good.
month to
You don't
month,
have
if
to
you
come.
really we're not gonna make any movement, you know, just call us and
Yeah. So
we'll
we'll,
just, you know, we're gonna just put you on as a fixed entity for a while.
things that we'll start to do is suggest some different type of screening. We know you're gonna wanna see
Sure,
that.
we definitely do.
We can give you the noise information and just continue to refine it.
I mean, you know, you guys have been through it enough, you know all the questions that are gonna be raised by the public, you know.
All
Great, so-
Here's what I'll do.
Hopefully-
I'll
hopefully
send-
you
I'm
do.
going to send Liza my email right now, and then you'll have my stuff, and then you can pass it on.
Yeah, and I'm happy to, I usually put these together, you know, a day or two before the meeting, but we're happy to share, you know, to share them anytime.
So we'll just apply directly to the, ZBA?
Technically, just so you touch all your buttons, you gotta go through the CEO. And if he has any questions, he can call us.
Right.
And we'll tell him why he's gotta, he's gotta make the referral to ZBA.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, we would say to you, we can't entertain your application due to the language, we need a language interpretation and or a variance
Mhm.
to do this. So he's the one that's gotta send you that.
Do their referral, okay, that makes sense, because I had, when I was, reading through everything, I saw that it was referral to ZBA, so I thought it was planning board referral, 'cause,
Well, I guess we could, but technically it should come from him.
Okay.
Okay, we will, as John said, we always weigh in on action that they have,
Right, yeah.
so we get our 2 cents in whether, just whatever.
One more question before we switch over to the Yankees game here. Does anyone know the rationale behind that large setback? Just so I'm, you know?
So the town board had established, the policy for all the solar regulations. So that's a better question suited for those guys.
Okay, no, that's fine.
But it's all over the board. I have some towns that pick 500, 1,000, some they don't have any of that at all. It's all over the board.
I've never seen it written, with 1,000 feet, or the wording.
Lennox is worse. Lennox, you can't. You're done. That piece of property, you ain't getting nothing. So the way their law reads, that's what they decided. So these guys, they picked 1,000. I'm sending you my email, I'm giving you my phone number for my office. And then I'll respond back to you, you have all of everything. This is just my phone. I don't have it set up with everything. Let's see. So you'll get this, and then you have my email. We can keep discussing this. Okay, well.
We good?
Great, thank you so much for your
You're
time.
welcome. Forrest was here. Was he here for a purpose, or?
I think he was just.
Or he just interested bystander? Okay, all right.
I don't want to leave this not on the right setting. You happen to know?
I had to pick his daughter up from the hospital.
Oh,
So it
there?
says,
She working up there?
my phone is acting up. It says, okay, make sure you get this right. LSCH EPS@nexamp.com. Does not appear to be a valid email address. I'm gonna send that anyway. I don't know why I did that. It's so weird.
Let's grab my phone, let's see.
Yeah, let me know if that, let's make sure it went through. If it kicks back, I'll just write it. If you give me an extra hard.
I'm losing you here.
Tyler, before you get to the bridge.
Okay.
Perfect.
I wanted to put something
You
down
can drive back?
on that lot across on the
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Only 2 hours?
How
How far are you gonna go?
porch.
I'll be going back to Boston, but,
Well, we never got that far.
I know.
But they pulled it. It wasn't,
Three to two.
yeah.
Okay,
All right, let's see, so John we can end this.
Thank you for the time.
You're entirely welcome. Thank you for the, briefing. John,
You get it?
not yet.
What's that, Frank? I'm
take
sorry.
care of business, sir.
It's 3-2, top of the fourth.
Fourth?
You tried, I couldn't get it.
Oh, didn't? Okay.
Guess what? Judge and Stanton Homer.
That's so odd.
You win.
LSCH,
LS.
is there an I?
LSCHEPPS, right?
Yes.
Oh, I had 2 ads. Oh, good lord.
Okay, that made me feel better. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So those Boston fans get
That's a
everything
new
screwed
one
up.
right there. Okay. So we're gonna do this.
Have a good evening, folks.
Good night.
You are? I just want to make sure one of these got it. John, do you have anything else for us?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay, can I have a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
Second, any discussion, all those in favor?